Grace and peace, everybody. We are back. You saw the thumbnail, you saw the title. So let's figure it out. Let's get it done today. Hopefully, we are going to have a great show. I wanted to jump on early because one, I'm trying out a new feature which allows me to stream both vertically and horizontally. Vertically and horizontally at the same time. So hopefully you're probably seeing this in a different format if you're following me on your phone or on a tablet or whatever like that. I think it look okay. I don't think it looks too bad. So I wanted to try that out and make sure it worked properly. And of course, make sure you all could hear me and all that kind of good jazz like that. I'm going to tell y'all right now, I should never have asked y'all to send me some content creators that are sub 1,000 that we can support and build up. You all, I'm sorry, that was the biggest and longest list I've ever seen in my life. But shout out to all of y'all. And I'm really pleasantly surprised how few repeat names I saw. So thank you all. Me and my editor are working at collecting all those names, getting their URLs proper, and I'm going to put them on my Substack. So if you follow me on Substack, I'm about to drop, let me say it again. I will be dropping an article explaining some content creators that we should all reach out to and support. So I have them broken down into sub 1,000, those who are already over 1,000, and some are real big dogs that really, they don't need my support at all. But just in case you don't know about some other good content creators. So thank you all to all of you. That was a great list. You don't need to send me any more. You don't need to send me any more, y'all. That was crazy. But thank y'all so much for that. That was great. We will be playing bingo. So if you want to play bingo with us tonight, when Candy goes live, let me bring this into the chat. Why is it not showing up? Bang. Well, we got Chad. We're going to talk about Chad in a second. Let's remove Chad. Do this, Jason. There we go. All right, so here's my bingo board. I think this one, I like this one though, for some reason. Generous eyes, FBI, CIA, random text, I don't like. I feel, random person, military. I'm just asking questions, call out a random country. I'm feeling good about this one, man. Israel did it. Tip line shout out, free space. I'm going to do that now. I don't know, but I know, no. There's the leaks, hunch. Actually, this one looks like the one from yesterday, truth be told. Twitter, Kanye West, best friend, Allie. Trust me, bro. I won't share it, but doc somebody, my sources, and Erica. So I think this is going to be a good one. That's my bingo board. If you want to, the link to the bingo board is here on the screen. Let me put it on the screen for you. Bang, there it is on the screen. And I know the mods will go ahead and drop it in the chat as well. What I do also want to do today to get started and just test out, make sure the system works right. I want to bring in Chad O. Jackson, great content creator. He's a friend of the channel. We've done projects in the past, and he weighed in on this conversation with Candace Owens and Allie Beth Stuckey. I thought Chad did a phenomenal job, a very measured, metered critique of what's been going on in these YouTube conservative streets, if you will. So I wanted to give you a chance. If you have not seen or heard of Chad, I'll make sure the link is down in the description as well. And I just thought this was great. I think we went over it yesterday. I feel like we did, but if we did not, guess what? We're going to do it right now. So shout out to Chad. His link will be, matter of fact, I'll put his link in the description in a second. Are there two lives going? There's a vertical and a horizontal option now. So if you're following me, so this is the horizontal option, and apparently there's a vertical option as well. So I don't know, does it show up as two different lives? I hope not. Hope that's not confusing. Let me go ahead and get this going. Shout out to Chad. Let's go.
So recently I posted a reel on IG addressing the baseless claim by Candace Owens that Allie Beth Stuckey doesn't care for or worry as much about Charlie Kirk as Candace Owens, does. And what's interesting is that when I posted this reel, there were some comments that said, well, Chad, your take is actually off base and ignorant because you don't watch Candace Owens' show. One of the claims that I make is that, with Candace, it can never be a thing where somebody disagrees with the facts that she's presenting. And rather than seeing it as an opportunity for Candace, to say, well, here are my facts. Here's what I'm saying. Here's what I'm claiming. And if you want to address these facts based on their merit and legitimacy, let's talk about it. It can never be that. She always has to resort to ad hominem attack, questioning whether somebody truly cares as much as she does, basically making fun of them in some way, shape, or form. And maybe that's just her brand, I don't know, but it's unbecoming of someone who claims to be a Christian woman.
It was Charlie's real life, Allie. That was Charlie's real life when you saw him sitting there and he got shot. That was his real life. He's not here anymore. Maybe you're not worried about him, but I am. I'm actually worried, and I want to know what happened to Charlie Kirk, okay? I feel like you and so many Christian Zionists just kind of wanted to turn him into a ghost, like, Charlie the friendly ghost.
Some of you said, well, Chad, you should watch her show. You should see where she's coming from. You should see what she's talking about. And so I did. I actually went and watched the entire episode where she's talking about Ali, among other things. And what's interesting is that, just as I suspected, everyone who she brings up in this particular episode, who she disagrees with or who disagrees with her, she makes fun of in some way, shape, or form. But what was also peculiar to me is how she had a critique against Turning Point USA based on the fact that Turning Point USA was leaning heavily into faith.
I had a phone call with someone, by the way, who's extremely close to this current administration, and they said, completely offhandedly, we were not even really discussing Charlie, but then they said, something that's really weird. I was at Charlie's memorial. She said, when did Turning Point become so faith-focused? She's like, I remember, obviously, Charlie always spoke.
I'm going to back this up. I want you to look at her face. Her face really is telling me really all I need to know. As far as I understood, now, I don't think Turning Point is like a parachurch ministry or anything like that, but I do believe that they're Christian adjacent, right? I don't think anybody expected them to be like playing, having some raunchy rapper or some twerking on stage. I think everybody knew that Turning Point was Christian adjacent, Christian leaning, and such like that. And my goodness, in the morning, most of the time, Charlie is telling young men to follow Christ, get married, have more kids than they can afford, and build a legacy. Like, Christ was never absent from it. This is why I really don't think you can ever you can't find a video of Candace ever giving the gospel, because she doesn't know it. She was literally offended by the fact and the idea that TPUSA was faith focused, Christ centric, whatever you want to use, but that she actually seems offended. Let me back it up and you just tell me what you think down in the comments below. Shout out to everybody who's jumped into the best live chat on the internet. Shout out to Chad. Let's go.
Turning Point USA was leaning heavily into faith.
I had a phone call with someone, by the way, who's extremely close to this current administration, and they said, completely offhandedly, we were not even really discussing Charlie, but then they said, something that's really weird. I was at Charlie's memorial. She said, when did Turning Point become so faith-focused? She's like, I remember, obviously, Charlie always spoke about his evangelical faith. She's like, but when you guys were running around starting all these Turning Point chapters, it was all about free markets and capitalism. And she was like, and I was at the rally, and it was suddenly faith, 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 pastor, 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 pastor. And I said, that is actually interesting. That is true, that it just kind of started. And then it was almost the biggest thing about Turning.
I don't want to keep stopping. Shout out to Chad. I think it's funny. Like, she literally makes it sound like Turning Point USA had, Cardi B on stage last week. And now this week they're, singing hymns and psalms and spiritual songs. Ma'am, this is a very interesting take. Shout out to Candace for being not only wrong, but being loud and wrong.
Point.
The issue she appears to have with Turning Point USA Faith is that many of the pastors that they've platformed are men who, as she puts it, have some kind of military background or some background in psychological operations and subversion, which she apparently hates. And that leads me to the next interesting thing, is that she hates the fact that there are organizations out there who want to actually infiltrate the culture with the Christian ethic and with the gospel.
The foundation of the prosperity of nations is going to have to be the teaching of Jesus. The good news is you can do that covert or you can do that overt, because God has a way of getting you into positions, companies, businesses, nations, and communities before the devil even knows what got in there.
This is a philosophy of infiltration.
So I disagree with the 7 Mountain Mandate. Lance Wall now is a total hack job. No question, no argument there at all. But let me just ask Candace a question. Do you expect Charlie Kirk, a evangelical Christian, did you expect him to be doing something contrary to his Christian beliefs just because he wasn't doing it in a church environment? Did you expect him to be doing something grossly different? It just seems really odd. I'm not saying that I believe again in the Seven Mountain Mandate, but literally all Charlie was talking about is engaging the culture and reshaping the culture. What what was he supposed to reshape it into, Candace? Why is she so befuddled by this? Why is this such a hand-wringing event for her? And how in the world do I keep stopping her face in these crazy positions? I have an entire folder of these shots, and I'm just doing a great job. Let me stop. Let's go.
He says, but before people even know, boom, he describes it as a devil, but before people know, boom, everyone around them is actually working for a higher purpose.
The last thing that caught my attention was the fact that she kept going on about how it's important to unite the left and the right.
The only thing that has been amazing about the Charlie Kirk assassination is that it has brought the left and the right together. It is just a fact that the greatest threat to government, and what this is really about, is the left and the right coming together.
My question is, around what? I mean, apparently you don't want the gospel to be pursued.
Hold on, let me back this up. Chad is about to cook, so I don't know if you had a late lunch. Hopefully you're hungry, because this right here, Chad really hits this one out the park. Again, shout out to Chad Jackson. I dropped the link down in the chat. He's a fantastic content creator, and he really has his finger on the pulse of the problem as it relates to what Candace is talking about, especially with this uniting of the left and right. This right here, I thought is worth the price of admission. It's worth, you know what? It's worth you hitting the like button. Let's go.
The Charlie Kirk assassination is that it has brought the left and the right together. It is just a fact that the greatest threat to government, and what this is really about, is the left and the right coming together.
My question is, around what? I mean, apparently you don't want the gospel to be pursued in the institutions and in the culture. And so what exactly do you want for the right and the left to come together around? The obvious answer, according to her, is when you look at the fact that there are anti-Israel folks on the left, anti-Israel folks on the right, that is the thing that people should be centering themselves around. That's the thing that people should be coming together around, is their disdain for Israel.
The establishment is just in complete denial, left and right. What is happening is a populist movement. And what is happening is that we are really sick of Zionism.
Now, look, I sympathize with the idea that our tax dollars shouldn't be going to help fund Israel and Ukraine and all these other places. I sympathize with that. I also think there's a compelling point on the other side as to why it is necessary to give funding. I'm someone who observes all sides of an argument and tried to come up with a rational conclusion. But to plant your stake on the right and the left will come together around this thing that I am right on as it pertains to Israel, as it pertains to the death of Charlie Kirk, and not around the gospel of Jesus Christ, as someone who claims to be a Christian, is very suspicious to me. One thing about me is that
I want to only back up. I'm only going to put a little bit of parsley on the plate. I'm only going to put a parsley because Chad is cooking over here. I'm just going to put a little garnish on the plate. Remember, Candace was offended by the gospel. She literally was like, how dare you be about faith? Like, she was offended by it. So it's not just, there's a little bit more there than just, we're not united around the gospel. She was offended by the gospel. And she alleges, and I'm sorry, people allege that she's a Christian. Very rarely do you hear Candace making the claim that she's a Christian. She says things about Christians, and she says things like, a groupthink Christian comments, but you don't hear her say, I am a Christian. I am born again. Christ redeemed me from my sins when I was dead in my trespasses and sins. You don't hear her making those kind of claims. So, we might be barking up the wrong tree, but she was offended by the gospel. That really, you got to go back and watch that again. She was offended by the fact that so many quote unquote pastors and ministry people and Christian people of faith are in TPUSA. That was really wild work.
I'm Christian first. I'm Christ first. I consider Allie Beth Stuckey to be a sister in Christ. You can't get through a episode of Allie Beth Stuckey's podcast without hearing something edifying that actually pertains to Scripture, that actually pertains to our walk with Christ.
How our obedience in our testimonies is interwoven with the testimonies of countless other people in the lives that we live here on earth.
My wife and all of her friends watch Allie Beth Stuckey. They've watched Candace Owens. And one of the interesting things that my wife told me this morning is that when she watches Candace Owens, she sees bitterness, vindictiveness. When she watches Allie Beth Stuckey, she sees joy and peace. And Jesus said that you will know a tree by its fruit. And so I'm going to defend Allie Beth Stuckey as a sister in Christ who I believe is doing kingdom work. Candace Owens might have the numbers, but consensus does not equal righteousness. My prayer for Candace Owens is that she'll repent of her pride, that she'll repent of this kind of smug disposition that she has, and that she'll repent of leaning into her own understanding rather than on Christ. Now, some of you are commenting and saying, well, I'm Team Candace or I'm Team Allie or whatever the case may be. Be Team Christ. You don't have to be Team Candace. You don't have to be Team Allie for that matter. Be Team Christ. Be Team Truth. And as far as I can tell, Allie Beth.
Let me jump in here one more time. I'm just going to put a couple more ice cubes into the cup because Chad is cooking. One of the things that you hear a lot of people say is that Candace is about the truth. Truth is on her side, truth. But what is the truth that they're referring to? They never qualify and say, this is what the truth is, or this, like she's a truth seeker, or she's a truth teller. Well, what is the truth that she's telling and she's seeking? Because most times, sadly, we hear her lying and being duplicitous and being disingenuous and, dare I just say, outright, unequivocally bearing false witness. What is the truth that she's sharing? So even though somebody says they're going after truth, what is that truth? You have my permission to ask more clarifying questions like, hey, you say you're about that truth. Where are you getting this truth from? What is and again, given the fact that we watched that woman drag Allie Beth Stuckey yesterday after Allie did a phenomenal job of being very kind and gracious to her, she still came out the bag on her. I think we know where this is going. So let's go, Chad. Finish up, brother.
Stuckey is being more representative of Christ than Candace. You know, for those of you who follow Candace, who believe that she's doing extraordinary investigative work, who believe her to be some kind of leader to some degree, let me just say that to the extent that your leader responds to genuine criticism with ad hominem attacks and doing all this mean girl thing that she's doing, that in itself should cause you to question whether or not the facts that Candace is laying out is being done in good faith. At the end of the day, when I look at Allie Beth Stuckey's show, it's very clear where she stands in terms of her desire to advance God's kingdom. However, when I look at the fact that Candace Owens is calling Allie Beth Stuckey a fake Christian, or when I look at Candace's show and see that she's against the spread of Christianity and the institutions and in our culture, that tells me pretty much a lot of what I need to know.
Shout out to Chad. Chad is a fantastic content creator. I believe I've said that at least 10 times because I really respect him as a young man that is doing a great job. He's growing his family. He's got more kids than he can afford. He loves his wife, all that kind of good stuff that you hear box checking that Charlie Kirk was encouraging men to do. But even more than that, Chad is a handsome man of God that loves Christ and wants to make much of his kingdom. So shout out to him for sure. I appreciate y'all tapping in. Okay, I got the memo, y'all. I got the memo. Yesterday, I don't know what possessed me to ask y'all what other content creators do you want me to check out. I got the memo. I got the Milk Bar video ready. We're going to tap into Milk Bar. Let me just real quick see if your girl is she out here spreading her shenanigans today. She might not even go on today, or she might go super late. I don't know. At the current moment, I don't see that she has a stream plan, which is great because that'll give me time to get done with the Milk Bar. Okay, so Milk Bar, apparently a Milk Bar is a convenience store in Australia. Who knew that, right? I didn't know that. So apparently a Milk Bar is a convenience store, kind of like a 7-Eleven or a bodega, right? But he is over on Twitter, and he is giving Candace Owens fits. I mean, goodness gracious. He does a great job. His name is Nathan. Great guy that really does a good job. Well, a lot of us have talked about this, and I want to bring this in. At one time, Candace had a website called Social Autopsy that would dox individuals that were out there on various and sundry sites putting out bad information or whatever. That they would put their information out there for everybody to know who they are. Like, this is John Smith, and John Smith works here, and this is John Smith's address, John Smith's phone number, this is John Smith's kids. It was crazy work. And it was categorically denounced by both sides, the left and the right. Nobody wanted that. And that's really I really believe what pushed Candace out of the private sector into the public sphere, because she was doing pieces and hit pieces against Donald Trump. And she was so turned off by how the left responded to her that she, quote unquote, became a conservative. And that's how the Candace Owens that we know today was born. So Milk Bar sat down with one of her victims, and this was an excellent interview. So I'm gonna bring this in. If you've seen it, shout out. If you haven't seen it, hopefully this will be a chance for you to check out.
Company is referred to as Social Autopsy.
And of course, I want you to please go check out Milk Bar. His link will be down in the description as well. Shout out to the mods. Thank you, everybody who's hopped into the best live channel on the internet. Let's go.
And apparently they've already compiled a database of individuals online who harass people or bully people.
Words are real. People don't assign, there's no humanity behind what they say. They just think it's not real. And that's what technology takes away from children, the fact that it is real. And you would never in a million years say those things to someone's face.
Candace Owens, aka Red Pill Black, is going to put my life in danger by doxing me. All because I typed mean words on the internet.
This entire controversy, people calling you out, originated from Tree of Logic, right? She was the first.
People were like, you're just jealous of Candace.
It was never about doxing people. It was honestly, to me, jealousy.
Like, no, I'm not trying to get killed because I left policing, and in the process of being a police officer, I put two men in jail, federal penitentiary because of me, and they vowed, through most of their time incarcerated, that when they get out, they will find me and they will kill me. They would rape me first, and then they would kill me. So I think I have an interest in making sure that my dox isn't out there.
It is Candace Owens, the founder of socialautopsy.com. The first ever search database that compiles and allows the public to easily access the digital footprint of individuals and companies. These individuals are your teachers, doctors, neighbors, and business owners. And for the first time ever, you'll be given the chance to run a real background check on them to see what these people represent behind closed doors. What we want to do is clean up the internet so that we can make it a safer place.
As you know, that website is a thorough dox. It dox any and everybody, including children. And so I wanted my dox off that site. But most of all, I wanted the site shut down because I'm just against doxing.
Joining me today is a YouTuber who has done pretty much the scariest thing that one person can do. She has come out as conservative. Candace Owens, aka Red Pill Black.
Mike Cernovic gave her the name Red Pill Black because her real name, Candace Owens, was connected to the doxing site Social Autopsy and all of the things that she did back then.
There's the truth about our activism,
especially with her blog.
What's up, everyone? My name is Candace Owens. I'm the CEO of Degree180.com,
where she talked about how to get medication on the low, and how she talked about Trump and saying that he had a mushroom penis that's 2 inches tall, and that's the reason why he's unhinged. She was anti-Trump and very pro-Hillary.
I considered myself a Democrat and a liberal about a year and a half ago as Trump was kind of rising up.
But you didn't vote for Donald Trump, to be clear.
I did not.
I was watching Harmful Opinions video, and Harmful Opinions was really clowning us. When I say us, I'm talking about conservatives and right-wingers. He was like, oh, Candace Owens, the one that had a doxing site. Yeah, she's now under the moniker of Red Pill Black, and she's got the conservatives to fund that doxing site. So it looks like that doxing site that we took down is going to eventually come up. And I was like, what?
The unpublished site currently has about 20,000 profiles, but the creator's goal is to launch Kickstarter Denial Be Damned with 150,000.
The site wasn't live at this point, but you were shown how to kind of access it to see what information they had, and that's how you found it.
They just had a vulnerability in the security part of the website, and it was just easy to get in. And I followed the directions and I got in. First thing I did was look for my docs to see if I was on there. And I looked for it not thinking I was going to be on there. But then when I saw, I just can't even tell you, Nathan, like, I can laugh about it now, but I wasn't laughing at the time. I was horrified to see my docs, my full docs, and to see the pictures that were there. And these were different type of pictures. Like, there are certain pictures that I can see of myself and I know exactly where that came from. So I can see some pictures of myself and go, oh, that's when I was a dominatrix. Oh, that's when I was a bodybuilder. Oh, that's when I was in politics. Oh, that's when I was on my old channel. Oh, that's when I was in college. Oh, that's when I was a police officer. I know certain pictures. I can tell who should have them. These particular pictures were family pictures. These particular pictures are only pictures that my family members, my biological family members, who I don't deal with anymore. I haven't dealt with them since the late 90s. But there's some bad blood between me and them. And so my cousin put my my complete docs on, and she verified it because I did call her, and she's put it on this site.
Have someone that you'd like to add to our morgue? Submit them. Our database is continually grown by anonymous submissions from individuals like you.
If you have a problem with someone, or you want to get back at someone, or you just want to be vengeful like my cousin, all you have to do is log in anonymously, and then you're able to get into the website. But you can do it anonymously. You don't have to connect your Google account or sign in with an email and get validation. And anybody can log in, right? And what they want is they want the picture of the person that you're going to dox or put on the database. They want they want the legal name, but they also want aliases. So with me, she put my legal name, but she also put my birth name. And they want your address. They want your you to put down your current job, so they can basically try to get you fired. They also, on the website, they want to know all the schools you went to, from elementary school to middle school to high school to graduate school. And if you also went to post-grad, they want that information. So every school, it was so much stuff, and it was the most, they want screenshots of what you said that was politically incorrect, all right, or that was triggering. So they want to see if you said something like Hitler did nothing wrong, or I don't want to deal with the 5013s, or, or do the N-word tower. If you did any of that, they want to show that on your profile. And then they want to list every social media platform that you have. It is a thorough and full docs.
What we are doing is figuratively lifting the masks up, so nobody can hide behind, Twitter handles or privatized profiles.
What was the threshold to even be on the site?
Nobody, anybody can do it. Anybody can do it. This stuff is not even validated.
If somebody creates a fake Facebook profile pretending to be you, you've got a bigger problem than social autopsy, right? Your first problem is that someone has created a fake profile pretending to be you.
Did you have contact with her?
She blocked me when I asked her to take it down, that I have people killing me, and that my cousin, when I told her, I literally tweeted to her, I said, Candace, well, red pill black, but I called her, hey, listen, can you please don't launch this site, because it has my full docs on there, and I have 2 men looking to kill me as of today. So it's like, you're putting my life in danger. And so when I told this to Candace, I said, hey, Candace, My full docs is on your website. And I'm a former police officer. There's 2 men who are out now, okay? And they're looking to kill me. If they find me, because I changed my legal name, I changed my appearance, and I'm very tall. I can't do anything about that, right? I'm 6'3". So what am I gonna do? Cut off my legs? So and of course I grew, this is my hair. These are dreadlocks. So I grew my hair out, because it used to be permed. And I did everything I could, contact lenses. I did everything I could to change my appearance.
We exist as a clean archive of an individual's words only, from which employers, friends, and universities alike may draw their own conclusions.
This is saying that social autopsy is not responsible for anything that happens to the person that you dox. They are not responsible for any consequences that will result from the personal information that are placed on their website. Free and clear, okay? I was the only one on the right that knew everything for that site. I knew the ins and outs. I knew how it worked, when it started. I knew the backstory. I knew the current story. And so Dave Rubin and a lot of people wanted to get to the bottom of that, but they wanted to do it in a way that Candace can defend herself because the walls start closing in. And that's how she picked Blair White.
That, what you're describing there doesn't sound to me like a doxing. A doxing website would be I'm using this site to release information about people. But you're saying basically this was going to be an archive home for schools to look at this information and sift through it. Okay.
Blair White had nothing to do with me and what I was doing. Me and Blair are cool. But what I'm saying is that she picked Blair White on purpose. One, because Blair's trans, but 2, she picked Blair because she knew Blair couldn't defend the site because Blair didn't know much about the site. And even though I did my best to coach her before, it's way too much information for her to retain. She did bring some notes. If you see that debate between her and Candace on the Dave Rubin show, it was way too much when Candace would come out with, well, this is available and that is available. Because one of Candace's defense is everything that's available on socialautopsy.com is available on Facebook, and that's a lie.
Just to be clear, all the site did was take in public information,
Public
correct?
information. The information was right there. As you said, my website never doxed a single person.
That's a lie. You know what I'm saying? My stuff, none of that information, including my name, including my picture, is available on Facebook. I've never, ever had that happen on Facebook. I've always had some kind of initials or maybe my first real name, but I've never put my full docs on Facebook because I never trust social media like that. I'm a former police officer. Why would I do that? I have, at the time, I put a lot of bad people in jail. You know what I'm saying? Why would I put myself on blast like that?
Yeah, so I created a splash page, which is all that is that she's referring to.
We had nothing but a splash page at that point.
It doesn't make any sense. If the site's not working and we're not recording anything and she's against what she started, these should all link to page not found, 404 error. Let's see if that's the case. Holy crap.
My web developer, I forwarded him all the emails from February. Did you not see these?
No,
He called it a non-functioning splash page because we hadn't yet built the technology.
Okay, so
You're making it seem like I'm a liar. And that's what I wasn't okay with. It was something that was told to me by my web developer, and I repeated that.
If there was a database, it's not a non-functioning splash page. So are you willing to take it back that it was a non-functioning splash page?
I am more than happy to admit, and like I said to Dave.
Okay.
And a lot of people didn't even know that as soon as a child is able to have their own profile and to get on these community boards, they could be doxxed, according to her own words.
Pretty much, if you are a minor, you are not excluded from anything if you are posting in a public place saying awful things.
And it was with no help of the conservatives. I had to get the feminists and the liberals, as well as a lot of libertarians in the center, to help me pressure her and basically make a big ruckus about it. Because the only reason the conservatives were able to nudge her a little bit and say, you got to take this site down, especially with Alex Jones, is to shame the right, saying, oh, I thought y'all wasn't for doxing. I thought you guys are not supposed to be for doxing. Oh, you're doxers too. So it made them look bad, like they're SJWs, like they're libtards as well. And so out of face, that's the reason why they shamed, not shamed, the left, and I shamed her because, like I said, I didn't have nobody on the right help me. She called me a crackhead, and when Blair said that this was a foul rumor to spread, Candace Owens said, "Oh, it's not a rumor," implying that this was a fact.
You called Tree of Logic a crackhead. You called.
I genuinely think she's on drugs.
Okay, that's fine.
She said I was releasing a doxing site in 3 weeks, and she was scared for her life. That's definitely not living with normal reality.
So the following morning, I got in my car, drove to a local health clinic to take an extensive drug test. 3 days later, I posted my test results on my Twitter profile, showing that I tested negative for everything, including medication.
How come I haven't been sued if these people's lives were completely ruined, if it happened a year ago?
Candace, I don't know. Ask people who didn't choose to sue you. I don't fucking know.
When I arrive in Texas, I will do 2 things. 1, reveal my real name, and 2,
real quick, does anybody else find it interesting? Candace is forever wanting somebody to sue her. I've never seen somebody beg to be sued as much. Not only like in her actions, but she literally vocalizes, I want you to sue me. That is some wild work. I've never seen somebody behave like that. And it's just really strange and odd to me that she's so dedicated to being sued. That's weird. That is such a weird, I don't even understand what that is. And also, if I could please have all the mods, if you have a blue wrench next to your name, can you shoot me an email real quick? I want to make sure I have everybody's email.
Filed a lawsuit against Candace Owens for slander. I reached out to so many people, but they were like, come on, play right. We need somebody like Candace. She's articulate. She's black. She's a woman. And we need her to get the blacks off the Democratic plantation. That bullshit.
A movement called Blacksit, which encourages black voters to leave the Democratic Party.
It is time for us to stand up for our community boldly.
Right. And it was like they weren't hearing me because they needed her for their agenda. And it didn't matter she had this doxing site. It didn't matter that she had a tool that could be used against them. They didn't care. They just needed their so-called Harriet Tubman because their fascination with trying to get blacks from the Democratic Party to the Republican Party. It was so fake. It was just, all of that was so fake. You know, I have to hand it to Candace. She's the best con artist I have seen in years. She interviewed with the right people. None of them fact-checked her, and none of them went to the website that is still up and running, collecting doxing information right now as I speak. This is going to sound crazy coming from me, but I appreciate someone like Candace Owens to show me the hypocrisy on both sides, the nastiness, and how money and power rules over all. It doesn't matter about morality. It doesn't, and I'm talking about for the left and the right, but I'm a right winger. I'm a conservative. So when I looked at my side, I'm like, man, we're just as bad as the left. We just have different views, you know?
Right.
So if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have saw that side of my political side. And therefore, the rose-colored glasses were off.
I just want you to answer what people say, because, you know, I'll show a compilation of just her having zero consistency on any subject whatsoever. And then people will look at that, including social autopsy.
Simply put, social autopsy is your digital footprint. So be mindful of the words that you share.
And it's an exciting time to be alive. And I encourage everybody out there, get your voice out there. Don't be scared to say whatever you're thinking. Nobody can stop you.
And they'll say, oh, but that was 10 years ago. She's changed.
How?
Who paid Tree of Logic? Who paid Richard Spencer to retweet something?
If I say that I think something is paid, that is at my discretion. I can say I cannot present to you a fact, and you can't present to me not a fact. Okay, we're both. And what has emerged to me is very clearly a picture, a network of influencers who I believe are being paid to go after certain people. You can't prove it's not true, and I can't prove it's true.
Okay, you are admitting that.
It's on you.
It's on my opinion.
You made the claim. It's on
well, I think
it's
you're admitting you speculated. So
yes.
it's
The feds made up the text messages.
But you don't have anyone from like the FBI telling you that, or law enforcement?
Leaks.
Okay.
Has anyone leaked to you?
And
that?
Tyler Robinson
But has anyone said to you, even off the record, like, yeah, we faked these?
I have very strong sources everywhere on both sides.
Well, I look forward to seeing the evidence of that.
Sure.
I am the one that can basically just destroy every rebuttal that anybody can say about it, because I studied her the most. I think you're going to be the second one who can do the same thing, because it was so personal. It wasn't about her. I know the doxing site was bad, but it was personal. My life was on the line for this. So this was different for me. So I know this like the back of my hands. So I had someone say, why are you bringing up something that happened so long ago? She addressed this in her book. I said, what did she say? Nothing. They can't tell me nothing. I said, because if she addressed it, tell me what she said, because every time she addressed it, she'll say, my heart is in the right place.
My passion behind it was well-intended, but it was totally naive and not something that now I know that I shouldn't have done.
Yeah, has she ever actually apologized for it?
She said, I will never, ever apologize for socialautopsy.com because my heart was in the right place. I had good intentions for that site.
Yeah. It takes a particular, I think, like, I mean, a broken person, but I'd also say maybe evil, to dox children and not think that there's anything wrong with that.
Right. And she said that looking straight into the camera, unapologetic, like that she's a different type of evil.
We stand by the fact that we think the best time to be on our database is when you are a minor, because that's exactly what we're trying to do. We are trying to affect their, conscious when they're young, so they know to use the internet more responsibly when they're older. There's no harm, no foul, really, if you're a minor, right? You have this profile for 365 days. You're not applying to college. You're not, going out for a job. It doesn't do anything to affect your livelihood in any way. So we think that that's really honestly the best time for people to learn.
You touch on the
That wasn't true back in 2017. That's not true now. I think it's even more not true now. But what was she talking about? I think she was just freestyling. She was literally just freestyling. Like, oh, it's not going to hurt you. You just go ahead and do it. That is some crazy work right there. And this is Candace, y'all.
Yes, but I just want to say, because the other one that people respond with is, they're like, what's happened to Candace Owens? She's lost her mind now.
What? She's always been this way.
I think she might be right.
What are you talking about? She's always been this way.
You guys have a great day and stay up to date on Social Autopsy updates. And be nice. Just be nice on the internet. It's really easy. You don't have to worry about this if you're just nice.
That's wild. Just be nice, y'all. That's all you got to do is just be nice. Just be nice. Be nice. Behave like we want you to behave, and nobody will get hurt. That's basically what she's saying. Let's check out my bingo board real quick. All right, I'm playing bingo. I believe Candace is going live today. She might not. I got some videos if she doesn't. But, be nice. Anyway, let's see. I don't like it. I got leaks. Best friend, doxing someone, won't share. You know what? Technically when she basically said, trust me, bro. I think she said, trust me, bro. I do believe that. I believe that in my heart of hearts. She said, trust me. What do y'all think? All right, let's go. Let's keep this game going. Shout out to the best live chat on the internet. What does CU say right here with the $2 super? Says, Candace boils my blood. Where has been? I don't know, man. She's a very interesting lady. I'm finding her to be extremely interesting. And what I mean by interesting is, very, it's fascinating to see how far she's gotten with so little expertise. Oh, by the way, I am throwing out a request. If anybody has the clip of her saying that she has 2 college degrees, can you send that to me? Apparently she had a commentary about her having 2 college degrees. I want to know about that. Thank you so much, Cindy Lou Who, right here with the $5 super. The lead attorney called you out on his most recent live. Woo woo. Thank you for taking him to lunch. I know you shared the word. Such a sweet gesture. Let me tell you real quick. I'm a lead attorney stan. Lead attorney's right here in Atlanta. He's an excellent content creator. He taught me how to live stream. All right. And had an opportunity to meet him face to face a couple of months ago. He's actually been on my channel, and I've been on his channel. Meet him face to face. We went out to lunch, had a great time, just sat around, chewed the fat, talking about all kinds of stuff, everything around the sun, and just had a great conversation. And so I said, when I hit a particular goal on my channel, I was going to run, and he paid for lunch. So I said I was going to run the block and come back around, and I was going to take lead out. So I told my wife, I said, hey, babe, we're going to be taking lead out in October. I just believed that I was going to hit my goal so I could take him out and justify paying for it. And by God's grace, we did. And had a wonderful time talking to him. Him being an opportunity to see me and my wife, me and Chief Executive Second Born, and such like that. And I really want, I think he's a good person. I think he's a really good, caring person. He does a lot for the YouTube community that a lot of people don't see, whether it be having consultations for free or interacting with people in ways. I mean, again, a piddly guy talking loud in his office outside of his kitchen, he still gave me the same level of respect he gives anybody else. So shout out to the lead attorney. If the mods could please drop Lead's link in the chat, I really appreciate it. I'll go back, Cindy Lou Who, and find out what he said about me. Apparently he said something good. So shout out to Lead. Great guy. And thank you so much. All right. With this $5 super, we really are seeing the cracks in the right. We need to shore it up. Christians are truly on the narrow path. And that's really it. Let's just remember firm Xing. I'm gonna butcher that up, so forgive me. Remember, Christians are on the narrow path, period. So we're not on the broad path. We're not. This is going to be a single man, single woman walking with our King. That's it. That's it. So whether everybody agrees with us, nobody agrees with us. As long as we're following Christ, we're doing what we need to do. And I think sadly, the right has always been common sense. Let's just tell the truth. I mean, a lot of what's called conservatism is just common sense. And so sadly, a lot of people mix that up and say, oh, well, common sense is, conservatism, and Christians are conservative. So therefore I'm a Christian because I'm a conservative. That's not the case at all. That's not the case at all. And I think we saw that with Candace. A lot of people gave Candace a duck and pass, but nobody can show me her giving her testimony. Nobody can show me her actually understanding Christian ethics. And we just saw with Chad, she actually despises the gospel. How do you despise what actually saved your life? I would love for that I despise air. I despise water. I hate you, water. Like, that doesn't even make sense. It doesn't make sense. Candace is not a Christian. I know that sounds crazy, but it's the truth. It's the truth. Shout out. Thank you so much, everybody. You know what, y'all? I don't think she's going live today. I mean, maybe she's going to pop up and do like a 7 o'clock. That'll be crazy work. But I still got work, though. I got stuff for y'all. So I appreciate the best and most electrifying live chat. Let me real quick make sure I didn't miss anybody. I appreciate y'all hitting that like button when y'all jump in. I got you, Captain Jack. Thanks so much. I mean, she gets sued by the president of France. I mean, come on. She's steady wanting to get sued. I've never seen somebody who begged to get sued so much. Lead is a fantastic content creator and just a fun guy to talk to. I'm glad we had a chance to hang out. All right. Now I'm gonna get him to come to church with me one Sunday. That'll be great. All right, what we got? Yeah, I don't see her live at all. She said she's going live around 6:15. Okay, say less. We'll be here. I don't see did she put that on Twitter or something? I'm looking here on the old YouTube. I don't see that she's got it. I mean, she might have it playing somewhere else. Maybe she put it out on Twitter. She don't produce any fruit. I mean, that's the problem, in my opinion. Okay, that is kind of a good point, too. Lisa said, I kind of hope that she gives it a rest. She's exhausting. Well, hopefully, even if in that exhaustion, we'll have a good time laughing. All right, let's keep this game going. There's some good stuff happening here. Lots of good conversation in the chat, which I do appreciate it. I don't know. She might talk about the Egyptian planes. She might not. Matter of fact, you know what we should do? We should actually compile a list. Who was it? There was somebody yesterday, and I do apologize. It's in my email. I'm looking at it. I'll pull it up. They started compiling all the different stories and narratives that Candace has spun with timestamps and links. It was fantastic. Where is it? Oh, I had it. I'll find it. Because y'all flooded my email yesterday. Y'all are the best. But it was a really nice list of all these stories that Candace has spun. I mean, literally just in the last couple of weeks. So they didn't even go all the way back to the beginning of the Charlie Kirk saga. It was so interesting. Content creator. I thought that was excellent. I hope I didn't delete it. Here it is right here. I found it. Yeah, this was excellent. I'm gonna wait for this person, AD, because they're working on it. It's a work in progress. Thank you so much. And she knows who she is. It's a work in progress, but it is fantastic. Just started compiling all the stories. And I think that would be fun to, like, the Egyptian planes and the valves and all that kind of stuff. Remember the communist bee farm, all that kind of stuff. All that is wild. She blocked me? Hold on. Now I am not that important. I did not get blocked by Candace Owens on the Twitter. She blocked a lot of folk on Twitter, though. She blocks a lot of them. I did not get blocked on the Twitter. If I got blocked on the Twitter by Candace, y'all, we're going to have a problem. No, I'm not blocked. Whew. I say, man, I was going to feel some kind of way, man. That was making me feel bad. I was going to feel sad about that thing. There's no way. All right. So let's keep this game going. All right. The other content creator I wanted to look at was Cherie Denise, I believe is her name. And she did an excellent job just breaking down some of the other stories that swirl around Lady Candace. I think it was great. I'll make sure I have her link in a second because I downloaded the video. So I'll make sure I have the link in the chat in a second. Let me go ahead and pull this in so we can enjoy. And of course, you can use your bingo board as well. And we got it ready. It's ready, Jason.
Actually lost this lawsuit, but not before she stayed for 6 months without paying rent and was eventually evicted. And for a person who says that the apartment they're living in is killing them, it's wild you would stay there anyway when you have enough money to pay for an apartment at $3,500 a month. Yet you would continue to stay in the place that's killing you while you wait out this lawsuit that's going on. Well, she loses because police had said there are certain requirements to staying here. One of those things is as soon as there's a problem, you need to let us know so we can fix it. She'd failed to do that and then was angry that there was a problem that she'd never asked for help to fix.
All right. And before she jumps in, I also want you to remember, as we just saw in the Milk Bar video, back in 2017, 2016, she was not married to George Farmer. I don't even believe she was even a member or working with Turning Point USA yet. I think she came on board with TP USA in 2018, if I'm not mistaken. I got to pull up my timeline. And as a matter of fact, I need to add that to her list as well. I need to pull up my timeline. And the reason I bring that up is because it seems like her story, like the background story of who Candace Owens is, her LinkedIn, her resume, is very interesting. And I think more people should probably zero in on that and just kind of say, like, what kind of woman is this? What kind of person is this? So shout out to this content creator. Let's go ahead and let's keep it rolling.
But when we look at who she's been over the years, it just surprises me that people are willing to settle in on the fact that she's a truth teller. I'm confused as to when that happened. There's 3 major incidents I want to talk about in her life. When she was a senior in high school in 2007, there was a group of 4 white males, one of whom was one of her good friends, who decided to leave her a series of egregious voicemails. Now, nobody has ever seen the text from these. There's never been a transcript that's been publicly available. But in the sealed documents of this case, it was said that these voicemails were filled with racial epithets, that they were death threats, and those authorities at school who heard these voicemails said they were terrible. So I can't read them to you verbatim, but that allegedly is what happened. So it took the school 6 months to finally call these boys to account. And in that time, she was so traumatized by what had happened that she was homeschooled for 6 weeks because it was too scary for her to go to school with people who would leave death threats on her phone filled with racial slurs. It was particularly offensive to her because one of her good friends had been involved. So to have a former friend involved in the worst trauma of your life, she felt that she could not face going to school. So she went home. She and her grandfather then decide that they're going to sue the school board for taking so long to deal with this. And their assumption was that it took so long because one of the white boys, they're all white, one of the white guys who aimed his ire at her was the son of the mayor. And that there were power plays involved here, and so he was going to get off scot-free because of who his dad was. She and her grandfather, together with the NAACP, sued the school board and won $37,500. So as a young, impressionable person, to find that you can sue people and receive damages for your trauma and for what you went through, it was, I think, very formative to the way she handles conflict now. Interestingly, in one of the articles I read from the time, because this was big news in her town when this happened, there's a very curious line that says, Candace Owens was arrested in October of 2007 for a separate harassment issue. But all of the documents about this case have been sealed because they involved minors. And when I went to find another source that would let me know about when she was arrested, I never was able to find it. I was never able to find any documentation that she was actually arrested for a separate harassment issue. But she and this classmate were seen in this huge screaming match that predated the hateful, hideous voicemails. Now, I don't care how difficult Candace may have been in high school. You don't call somebody and threaten death and racial slurs. So if that's really what she suffered, and it being from a former friend, that would be super traumatic, especially as a high school student. You don't have any concept on how to deal with this. So I am in no ways belittling what she experienced. I'm just saying it seemed like high drama in high school. And then to have your grandfather and the NAACP take your side and then win $37,000, that probably felt really good to go after the bullies and to actually win and to feel like people were on your side. So I really feel like this informed the way she dealt with conflict after that. Fast forward several years, she's had a couple of jobs in New York City. She dropped out of college for some funding issues, but she goes to New York. She's a intern at Vogue for a short amount of time, and then she's working at a private equity company and works her way up to be vice president of something over there. Then she stops doing that so she can start this website called 180, and she is basically going after the conservative movement in her blog. These aren't hard-hitting articles. They're things like, how big do you think Trump's male appendage actually is? We think it's probably pretty small. And, going after the Tea Party, et cetera, calling them batshit crazy. So not hard-hitting journalism by any means. But that's what she was doing for a time. And then from that, she decided to do this spin-off called Social Autopsy. And through crowdfunding, she was going to develop this service where you could screenshot anytime somebody bullied you, and then it would go into this database. And then if you wanted to find somebody who was a bully, you could see if they had a profile on Social Autopsy where you could identify bullies and where ostensibly employers could decide whether people were troublemakers or not. That was immediately descended upon as a horrific idea by both the right and the left. All political spheres saw this as problematic because we don't really need this big brother movement where you are collecting data on people so that they can then pay socially for what they said. People shouldn't be treating others terribly, but unfortunately, if you also want to have the right for free speech, you can't then have a platform that seeks to prosecute those for free speech. And also there was a doxing issue. So now that we've identified who these people are and where they work and everything, now anyone can just go and attack these people? It seemed like a terrible plan. Candace Owens is approached by someone from the progressive left, and they say, I really think you shouldn't do this. This seems like a really bad idea, and asks her to reconsider the entire project. Candace Owens is like, this is a great idea, and I don't care for your opinion on it. Shortly after, Candace Owens' personal information and the information of her friends is released to the public. And she is doxxed, and she has all these people showing up at her house, and they have her phone number and her address, et cetera, et cetera. They know where she works. She feels that her life is in grave danger. So the very website that she came up with to do that very thing to people was now being done to her. But she, through very shoddy means, decided that the person responsible for releasing her information was the progressive who had come to her and said, hey, I think it would be great if you didn't do this. That flipped her into a conservative. And so after that incident, she wanted nothing to do with the left or Democrats or anything like that. And she plugged hardcore into the idea of being a conservative. And the conservatives, who had very few black people to speak boldly for the conservative viewpoint, were only too happy to bring her along. They really wanted somebody young, somebody capable of reaching a younger demographic. And so Candace Owens was the belle of the conservative ball. She learned all the lines, she could say all the things, and she was really, really unafraid to say things that were feather ruffling. She liked to ruffle people's feathers. It made her feel powerful to evoke an emotional response from people, so she did it consistently, and she found that the right celebrated her. Donald Trump said she was great. Kanye West said he liked the way she thought. So to get somebody like Kanye West to approve of her was like the greatest dopamine hit she could ever receive. So she was going to press into whatever it was that made her.
Okay, I'm going to stop for a second because I've been over here looking because I was trying to find that article about what happened in high school, and I can't find it. But does anybody know how long this whole social autopsy kerfuffle went on? Does anybody know in the chat? Does anybody, don't check. Does anybody know how long it was? Because I find it very interesting, the whole thing. She was a leftist and started the website, and then she gets doxxed and then changes and becomes a conservative. Does anybody know how long that took? Somebody said 2 years. Okay. Okay, keep going. This is interesting. A year or two. 2 years. 2 years. Okay. It took 10 months. She started in the spring. She started the social autopsy shenanigans in the spring of 2016. By the end of 2016, she was red pill black. So she went into 2017 as a conservative. It actually probably was less than that. All of this time, we're talking about social autopsy and whatever 180 was really just about 10 months, maybe, let's just say 12 for easy math. Wow. So she went from dragging the conservatives, talking negatively about Trump and all this kind of stuff like that, to total 180, literally 180, switch in 12 months. Interesting. And that's just wild work. I'm looking at this like, and I'm going to add it, and I'm going to put this timeline together. I'm going to do my timeline like Candace does. I just thought that was super interesting. Like, we're only talking about a year at best. A year. That is a wild work, man, to make such a drastic change. And I see the word popped up. Uh-oh. Wait, did I see it? I saw the word grifter. If you have grifter on your bingo board, you're welcome to take it because somebody just used it. Hey, I heard Kanye, by the way, too. That is so interesting. It makes such a monumental change in your perspective in such a short period of time. Like, what did you learn in that period of time that caused you to switch so dramatically? I don't think anything. I'm going to let her finish up. Keep it going. Let's go.
Feel really good about herself. So we have a person who has a pretty dramatic high school experience. Then we get somebody who will flip on her political beliefs pretty inexplicably because it is evident that she can get farther with another political narrative. And then for my last story that just makes me feel like this is not a person to trust. In 2019, this is when she's moved on to TPUSA. She is living in Sanford, Connecticut still. She is making plenty of money for herself, and she lives in a high-rise luxury apartment. This rent is $3,500 a month. And she decides that it's a dangerous place to live because there's a black mold problem. And the way to solve your problems is to sue people. This is one of multiple lawsuits she's had throughout her adult life. And maybe in another episode, we'll chronicle all of the lawsuits, although probably not. I'm not that interested. But one of them that really stood out to me was a lawsuit that she had against the high-rise building that she lived in. She said that she had black mold poisoning, that it was causing her emotional and mental and physical decay, that she was dealing with symptoms of black mold that in her estimation were going to be lifelong chronic problems. Those problems included inability to think clearly. She also listed eczema as a problem, systemic yeast infections. She had a litany of things that were caused by the black mold. She said she'd had to get laser treatments for scars on her body because of the sores that the black mold were causing, and she submitted this picture to court as proof of the black mold. Never submitted anything from a doctor or anybody who could say, yes, these symptoms that you're suffering are because of the black mold. She eventually lost this lawsuit, but not before she stayed for 6 months without paying rent and was eventually evicted. And for a person who says that the apartment they're living in is killing them, it's wild you would stay there anyway when you have enough money to pay for an apartment at $3,500 a month. Yet you would continue to stay in the place that's killing you while you wait out this lawsuit that's going on. Well, she loses because they said that she had failed to submit to her landlord any evidence that there was a problem before the problem became so large that it was going to cause her health problems. So the lease had said there are certain requirements to staying here. One of those things is as soon as there's a problem, you need to let us know so we can fix it. She'd failed to do that and then was angry that there was a problem that she'd never asked for help to fix. Additionally, she left the windows open when the air conditioning was running, etc., etc. So she had been complicit in the growing of the black mold in her own home, but she wanted it to be their fault that there was black mold. And then when she wants to submit proof that she is suffering from black mold, she doesn't submit any proof that a doctor has connected these two things. And then she wants to stay in the place that's killing her for 6 months without paying rent. I mean, this is such a dishonest person. This is not a person who knows how to tell the truth. This is a person who has had a history of being whatever anybody needed her to be in the moment to receive a paycheck. So are we surprised that she's profiting off of the death of her friend? And for Megyn Kelly to decide that whatever is going on with this extremely popular voice in the conservative space or the former conservative space, and to think that Candace Owens' deterioration from being a relatively palatable person to somebody who is spewing evil lies and making up wild stories is not a trajectory or an arc that she would care to comment on is shocking that she would have such a lapse in her journalistic integrity. If it's on the right and it's wrong, then it's still wrong. I don't care if you're conservative. If there's somebody that's telling lies, you have to say, that's not true. And it's honestly okay to say, Candace is lying to you. But if your job is to comment on what's going on, then comment on this person who's been a historic liar, historically hysterical, historically litigious. Let's talk about that person who always has to make a mountain out of a molehill, who will connect facts that don't even mean anything, who will make up lies out of whole cloth just to sell a narrative. Did you know that she said that the NRA was a club that was created to teach black people how to use guns so they could defend themselves during Jim Crow?
The NRA was started as a civil rights organization, training black Americans to arm themselves and defend themselves against the KKK.
No, it's not. The NRA was established to teach Union soldiers how to shoot properly. It was like a sharpshooting club for the Union soldiers. Like, it wasn't to help black people with Jim Crow. But she'll just say crazy things like that. She just makes up whole lies. This is a person who got in trouble with TPUSA because she downplayed Hitler and said that he was a problematic person because he wanted to expand his ideas outside of Germany, but all he really wanted to do was make Germany a better place. What are you talking about? This is a person who tries to tell us that the Star of David is a satanic symbol. She's a clown. She can't be taken seriously at all. And for Megyn Kelly to act like it's not worthy of her commentary, that she doesn't opine on whether it's evil or not, to continually lie to people and confuse people in this already incredibly difficult place to understand information, for her to act like her job isn't to comment and to clarify and to set people straight, then what are you even doing?
Excellent question. Great way to end. Thank you so much, Cherie Denise. I apologize if I'm butchered her name earlier. I did drop the link to it in the chat, and I'll make sure it's a part of the description as well. I mean, Candace has been problematic for a while, but I don't think that she is the only problem that's going on. And actually, Cherie kind of ended on that, talking about Megyn Kelly. I do think that there is, within the conservative movement, there has to be a reckoning to the fact that we have to be honest with one another and just say the hard things up front and challenge people, even though they're your friends. So I think it's interesting. I want to talk about Brandon Tatum, because we've talked about Brandon Tatum on this channel before and how he tends to kind of dance around Candace Owens, but he came out pretty hard and, dare I say, really very clear about Megyn Kelly recently, and the whole dust up about Ben Shapiro, Tucker Carlson, of course, Candace Owens, and TPUSA. Brandon Tatum came out really hard, super clear, no confusion, no, brain fog or anything like that, which I thought was interesting, because when it came time for him to talk about Candace Owens, he was not this clear. It took 2 or 3 or 4 different podcasts in order for him to get to a place that sounds like he might be possibly speaking correction against Candace. So I want to pull this in, but I do want to say thank y'all, everybody. Yes, make sure you like the video. Thank you very much. I do want to pull this in, and hopefully this will be a good opportunity for us to check out. Real quick, let me see my bingo board real quick before I do anything. Yes, I'm playing bingo. And yes, I'm going to probably end up cheating because I want blackout bingo again. All right, let me see. Have we said military at all? Asking questions. I do remember that coming through. Twitter beef is right around the corner. I know that's coming. Tip line shout out. I know that's coming. I know he's going to say something about Allie or Erica. I think Brandon Tatum's going to speak on either one of those two. So I'm sure it's going to come up. So let's bring Brandon Tatum in. Let's have Officer Tatum come in here and help me get this blackout bingo. Sir, let's go. Shout out to everybody, the best live chat on the internet. I appreciate y'all. Let's go. Brandon Tatum, take it away, my friend.
Megyn Kelly, why are you doing this?
Charlie was all for really robust discussions of very tough issues, including Israel and beyond. It's just he wouldn't necessarily lead them because he did have donors, and he also was very close with the administration.
Now, I got more evidence that I want to share with you real quick, because for them to insinuate that Charlie was like afraid of his donors to get on stage and criticize Israel, do I need to show you exhibit A, B, and C? I guess I do. Like and subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you get notifications anytime I go live and make a video. Make sure you still subscribe to this channel and also subscribe to my Espanol channel. Let's get into this. Megyn Kelly, come on in. I like Megyn Kelly. I have always liked Megyn Kelly. Not always. When she was working on Fox, I couldn't stand her. When she was doing the debate with Donald Trump, I wanted her to go away. But when she left the mainstream, I like her podcast. I listen to it all the time. I think she have a lot of insightful things to say. But for whatever reason, Megyn Kelly is making a decision to side on foolery on some of these topics. I mean, absolutely foolery. I don't know why these people have a vested interest in recreating Charlie Kirk's belief systems. They're obsessed with he can't speak for himself. Can y'all let his wife talk for him? If Erica wanted the world to know that Charlie was abandoning Israel or something, I think his wife has the right to say it and prove it. Everybody else that's talking is speculating. And if Erica is not speculating, why are y'all speculating? And it's not that he changed his beliefs on anything other than Israel. Why are y'all so obsessed with Israel? People like me wouldn't even be talking about Israel if it wasn't for people lying and being weird about Israel every day. Let me ask you something. Have you ever Googled your own name? Do it sometime. You'll be shocked how much of your private information is out there, your address, your phone number, and even your family details. People completely lied about the whole thing. All right, let's get to the Megyn Kelly show. So Megyn Kelly goes on to insinuate, in my personal opinion, of this new conversion story of Charlie Kirk and how he was backstage as if he was telling Tucker Carlson, go for it, bro.
Go Max.
Bash Israel in front of this whole audience.
That's such a weird statement.
I'm going to let it play. Let her.
All right, before he does that, y'all type Go Max in the chat. Do we need to bring up my Go Max video? He was telling him to get the iPhone Pro Max. That's what he was doing. Charlie was an iPhone user. I don't condone iPhone usage. But Charlie was telling Tucker, go Max. Don't go just iPhone Pro. Go iPhone Pro Max. That's what he was saying. That's it. Tucker Carlson was like, hey, man, when I leave from here tonight, I'm thinking about going to Taco Bell. Should I get the Max burrito? He said, man, go Max, my guy. Go Max. That's it. He was like, yo, I'm thinking about Hulu and Netflix, or should I get HBO Max? Charlie was saying, go Max, bro. Go Max. I mean, that's it. Clear. It's as clear as day. Now, if you find offense to my interpretation of what happened, explain what we're about to watch. Let me bring it back in. If you have problems with what I said in the Taco Bell and the streaming service and the iPhone, tell me that this video makes any more sense.
Statement come out, and then we're going to talk about Tucker too on this a little bit, because either Tucker lied or he's talking about a whole different conversation that him and Charlie had. Let's start with the Megyn Kelly clip. Let's roll the first clip.
Charlie, he was important. He was hugely important to the conservative movement, but he didn't do it by discouraging debate or trying to tell one faction they couldn't or shouldn't say something, or not saber rattling on something that was like a sacred cow of the administration's. He didn't always do it, but he wanted those discussions to happen. I don't think Charlie would be upset about the debate that's generally happening between, say, Tucker and Ben Shapiro right now in Israel. He would not like how nasty it's getting. You know, he definitely would not support calls to have Tucker, you know, people to stop watching Tucker. Ben's not asking for him to be deplatformed, but clearly he wants him cut out of polite conservative movement circles. He would not be in favor of that. He knew what Tucker was saying, including about Israel, and continued to invite him to Turning Point events. And so I just wanted to tell this story because I think people are misunderstanding. Like Charlie.
I'll let her finish it. Give me 20 seconds. She conveniently left out Nick Fuentes. Why, Megyn? Why? Now, I'm not telling you how you run your show, but why did you leave out Nick Fuentes? You say Charlie was open for no, he wasn't. He wasn't always open for anybody to have a conversation with anybody. Charlie didn't debate just anybody. And he did not debate Nick Fuentes. And he said Nick Fuentes was vermin, that he refused to debate Nick Fuentes. He said it to, I heard him say it. He said it on the stage in front of the world, and he never debated Nick Fuentes. Nick Fuentes went on for years complaining that Charlie wouldn't debate him. He got mad at Dinesh D'Souza for debating Nick Fuentes. Megyn, why are you saying this? I don't get it. Finish the clip.
Charlie was all for really robust discussions of very tough issues, including Israel and beyond. It's just he wouldn't necessarily lead them because he did have donors, and he also was very close with the administration.
Okay, let's go to the next clip. This is her explaining Tucker.
Got criticized by the pro-Israel crowd for his remarks at the Turning Point event. Charlie also had threats from donors thereafter saying, if you don't get rid of Tucker Carlson, like, we're done. And he had received some threats about that even before Tucker's appearance. And he said, well, I'm bringing him anyway. And that's all been documented. This is kind of water under the bridge. But
which I think that it's fair to say that I do not think that was the right decision for Charlie to do. But Charlie is loyal and he don't want to get bullied. So if you're going to bully him, you're going to make him do something, whether it's right or wrong. I don't think it makes sense in the context of Turning Point for Charlie to defy the people who have supported to get this fool on the stage. Like, if we're talking about somebody else, maybe, but he on the stage being stupid. So I just disagree with that. That don't mean I didn't like Charlie, whatever. I love Charlie, but I disagree with that aspect of it. I think he should have just left Tucker out, but I do understand the loyalty aspect of it. I understand that point. I'm not missed on that point. Bro.
And I think also, I'm just going to jump in and just add, I do believe that the loyalty issue, in my opinion, really undercut Charlie's the stability. I understand you're loyal to one, and I understand you want to have different voices. You don't want to just have an echo chamber. I totally get that. But not being able to say, let me look at, maybe my friends don't hold a position that we need to be platforming all the time, or maybe platforming his friend, even though we don't have an issue on most topics, maybe this one right here might not be the best. And it does lend itself, because we see it now. We see now, post Charlie Kirk, he probably should have cut ties with Tucker Carlson, in my opinion.
I'm showing it to you for a different purpose. Tucker on that broadcast said the following about his backstage conversations with Charlie before he went out there.
Hold on. Now I want y'all, hold on, let it get to him real quick.
Before that.
Now I want y'all to pay attention to this. This is very important to acknowledge. Either Tucker completely lied about this, or Megyn Kelly and Tucker in this clip that she played is unrelated. One of the two happened, because what Tucker is getting ready to describe is nothing near what Megyn Kelly is showing in this clip. I don't know why she's trying to put this together. She could just talk about something else. Why are you trying to put this together? It actually looks like Tucker brushed Charlie off. It looked like he was like, yeah, all right, I'm talking to somebody else. All right, whatever, go for it, Max. Wait till I show you. Wait till I show you guys. Roll this clip.
At speech that I gave in July, we had a conversation about this backstage right before I went on.
Right before you
And I
went
was fulminating and getting all red in the face like I often do, to my shame. And I was mad thinking about this and thinking about the effort by the neocons in the United States to draw us in to another forever war with Iran. It's not a defense of Iran, of course. It's merely an acknowledgement that we've done this before.
Pause. But just admit you were wrong, you idiot. You and all these other fools fear-mongered us and said, we're going to get in an Iran war. Trump said he wasn't going to do it. You fake MAGA people who supported Trump, and then you turn your back on Trump because it has something to do with Israel. They turned on him because they weren't worried about the Iranian war. They know we weren't going to start a war. He killed Soleimani in cold blood and laughed at him, and Iran didn't attack us. They know better. They don't want that smoke with us. And so when Donald Trump made the strategic decision to do what he did, we know we weren't going to get in a war. I told y'all we weren't going to get in a war. He know we weren't going to get in a war. But they hate Jews in Israel so much that they are willing to turn on Trump over this that never happened. When is he going to apologize and say, I was wrong? I was completely wrong. I had no evidence that it was going to happen. I just said it anyway to fearmonger because I hate Israel. Roll the clip.
Happened in Iraq, which we entered into at the behest of those same foreign policy strategists, and
Trump wasn't
in
work.
And so I was going on at some length backstage with Charlie, and I said, probably not going to talk about that. I'm not going to torture you. I know your donors hate this when I say that. And also Epstein was in the news, and it was clear to me that, Epstein's probably not like a Mossad agent or something, but Epstein clearly had contact with Israeli intelligence and American intelligence and French intelligence, but the only one you're not allowed to talk about is Israeli intelligence. But it seemed true to me, and I had done some work on that. I knew a bunch of people pretty close to that story, so I thought that. And I said that to Charlie. And I said, but I'm not going to say that because I don't want to make your donors mad. I know it's just going to be like an endless flurry of text telling you to stop or you're going to lose a bunch of funding. And he looked at me, I'll never forget it.
Go Max.
And said, go all the way. Do it. Go all the way. I said, man, a lot of things I can talk about. I don't need to talk about that. And he said, do it. So I did it.
Now, maybe I'm retarded, but this is he said, I'm back there fuming. I'm back there turning red in the face. They had a full conversation. And then Charlie tells him, and he's never going to forget, go for it. Now, let's look at the clip that Megyn Kelly is showing because this go full max, I mean, they must be talking about two different conversations because this go full max backstage before he speaks is nothing like what we finna see in this video. Roll the clip.
And here's the thing, Stu. I was recently going through some old pictures to find one of me and Charlie that I knew we took at that event. And not only did I find pictures of me and Charlie, but I found a video of me, Tucker, and Charlie speaking backstage right before Tucker went out. Tucker and I were talking. Charlie came over and interrupted for just a second. And you can hear him on this tape, which I've listened to many times. It's very clear on my phone, less clear here probably as we play it. But he says to Tucker, go Max. He interrupts the conversation because he has to say to Tucker something. And what was so important to him to tell Tucker was, go Max. Here it is.
But maybe Tucker, y'all watch that video where Tucker talks about he was laying in the bed with his wife and 4 dogs. Maybe one of his dogs is named Max. Is that possible? Maybe Tucker was like, hey, man, I'm thinking about getting the new Ford F-150 Lariat Max or the F-150 Durango series. Which one should I get? And he probably said, go Max. Get the biggest thing. Why is that not possible? This is such a silly comment.
Hold on. Time out. Okay.
And Megyn Kelly is really short. I didn't know how short she was.
He said, this is what, okay, look, go Max. That means that this happened before Tucker went on stage, right? Tucker was saying he was in this deep theological conversation with Charlie Kirk before he went up on stage. Right here, Megyn Kelly is saying that's her, and she's talking to Tucker. So when is this Charlie Kirk conversation happening? I'm not saying it didn't, but this don't match what he was saying.
Correct.
Now watch Tucker Carlson, the way he treats Charlie Kirk. He's talking to Megyn Kelly. Charlie comes up. I want you to we're going to play this video maybe 3 times. First, I want you to listen to what Charlie said, the Go Max thing, right? Because you can barely hear it, but that's what he says. And then I want you to watch it again the second time, and I want you to just watch Tucker's expression with Charlie. Roll the clip. Go back, bro. It's like he didn't even, when you talk to somebody, you like when Charlie, and I got to tell y'all this, Charlie said something to me backstage very similar to this.
Did he tell you
Let's play it again. Just watch Tucker's reaction. Can you make it full screen? That picture? Because I want y'all to see this.
Go ultra.
Watch Tucker's reaction to Charlie. Is he interested or not interested is the question. Roll the clip.
Here it is.
I mean, no posture change or anything.
It's quick. It's just happened.
It's quick.
Whoa. He said, go Max. You know what I saw in that video? Go back one more time. This is what I saw in that video. Full screen. They don't need to see my beautiful face. This is what I saw in that video. I saw that Charlie wanted to have it. Let's stop, pause here. Charlie wanted it on record that he told Tucker to go Max. If you look at it, there's a person set up clearly that's filming this interaction.
Correct.
When Charlie says what he says, he looked directly at the camera And I don't know if it's because he orchestrated this, because Charlie does stuff like this. Obviously, you want to go viral. They want to have these moments. This is what they do. There's nothing wrong with it. But I think that's what this was. This was a video of Charlie saying that, and him wanting it on camera, that he had a moment to tell Tucker to go max. But unfortunately, Tucker was not interested enough to give him the time of day, and he just blew. He kind of like whatever, and went back to having a conversation with Megyn Kelly. Roll the clip.
That's what I see.
It's like he kind of wanted more of a conversation, didn't it? It's like he said go max, and he kind of stood there and was like, am I going to talk to Megyn Kelly and all that? And then Tucker just turned and didn't even pay attention to him, to be honest. He kind of blew him off. Now, why do I bring this up? Because I think Megyn Kelly is insinuating something, because she has to be on this side of it.
Right.
She can't be on the Ben Shapiro side, because that's not where the momentum is at. The momentum is not with me, Ben Shapiro, and other Zionists. We don't have momentum right now. People are hating us right now. But the tide will turn, trust me. But the momentum is on that side, so she needs to capitulate to that side. Charlie Kirk backstage said a similar thing to me. He came off stage. I'm setting up, because when you come off stage, they set you up with the mic and they prep you. So when he come off, they let you go on. He comes off like he always do when I see him backstage, and he says something to me. I'm like, "What's up, bro? Good to see you," or whatever. And he go, "Are you gonna talk about Israel? I mean, you're not Israel. Are you gonna talk about Epstein?" And I say, oh, yeah, "Of course." You know, I don't care what they want me to talk about. I'm gonna talk about what I want to talk about. But he mentioned it, and I was kind of confused. I was like, I didn't think it was a big deal. But he's like, "You gonna talk about Epstein?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course." He like, "Go all in, like go all in, bro. Like, cause I can't do it. Go all in." And the way, and I think none of it, obviously, until he dies, and then everybody's making this stuff up about his death. And the way I took it in the moment was that it was obviously the biggest controversy at the time was Epstein. The fact they was bullcorning around with the file. Donald Trump was being weird about it. He was doing all this old crazy stuff, blaming Republicans, saying, you ain't a Republican if you care about this stuff. And after all the administration was putting out fake binders and all kind of stuff. So people were pissed, man. I was too. Mm-hmm. That's one of the things I disagree with Trump, the way he handled the Epstein files. I disagree with him. I think he messed up in that area. That's why all this stuff is going on. But that's what I took Charlie to represent, was that I can't get out there and blast Epstein, because I got all of this. I got Trump administration, who I'm close to. I got Don Jr., all these people I'm friends with. And so I don't want to get out there and blast this topic and make Donald Trump look bad. Personally, me, I don't care. I'm not trying to make you look bad. I got to tell it like it is, because Trump don't care about telling like it is either. So neither am I. I don't care. So I get out there and say my thing, or whatever. We come on stage. Hey, Tatum, you killed it. All this other stuff. So why are they trying to make it bigger than what it really was? Why is this push? Why don't she just call Erica? Why can't? Matter of fact, I might talk to Erica. I haven't been trying to say nothing to Erica about this. Her husband's dead. Like, what we need to talk about this for?
Right.
She ain't mentioned it, so she must not. It must not be that important for her to mention. It wasn't important to Charlie, and it wasn't important to his wife. That's why she ain't said nothing. But there's a part of me that's like, Erica, just if you want me to say anything, I won't say nothing. If you tell me something, tell me not to tell anybody, I won't say nothing. If you need me to say something you can't say, I'll say it. I don't give a flying flip. I want to know, like, what do you think about this stuff that they're doing? Why are they characterizing Charlie as a certain way? Now, I got more evidence that I want to share with you real quick, because for them to insinuate that Charlie was like afraid of his donors to get on stage and criticize Israel, do I need to show you exhibit A, B, and C? I guess I do. Come on, pull up that clip 104. This is Charlie at the Patrick Bet-David on the Patrick Bet-David podcast. Now you tell me, does Charlie seem like he does seem a little hesitant, but he said it anyway. Do it seem to you like he cannot speak on this, or his donors are going to do nothing? He did it right here. Roll the clip.
Netanyahu now has an emergency government and a mandate to lead. I'm not willing to go so far that saying that Netanyahu knew or there was intelligence here, but I think some questions need to be asked. Was there a stand down order? Was there a stand down order? 6 hours? I don't believe it. Israel's the size of New Jersey. When I took a helicopter ride from Jerusalem to the Gaza border, it's 45 minutes. Wow. 6 hours. They're live streaming the killing of Jews. Did somebody in the government say, stand down? That is a legitimate, non-conspiracy question. The whole country is the IDF. The whole country is.
Yeah.
And you're trying to tell me that they're going to concerts and kibbutzes and schools and by reports 6 hours. Let's say it's 3 hours.
That's suspect. Go ahead, Rob.
It's also not like a right-wing reporting. This is from the New York Times. The long wait for help.
So openly, he's criticizing Israel.
Right.
I knew Charlie. Now I wasn't talking to him like right before he died. So I don't really know what he was thinking about it at the time. I do know that he was with Josh Hammer and a rabbi who messaged me, and they were on a text thread with him, prepping him to defend Israel at UVU the day before he went there. So clearly he hadn't abandoned Israel. Openly criticized. I think that's a good question to ask. I think there's answers to that question. Interview people in the IDF. I interviewed a guy at Pastor Alan Jackson's church who was a colonel in the IDF, and he had made mention that he do not believe that it was a stand down order. What happened, it was way more complicated than they thought it was, right? They put all their resources in the north because they were afraid of the invasion coming from the north, not necessarily Gaza. Then they had a special holiday, Rosh Hashanah, I think, a special holiday, and it was Shabbat. So they got their pants all the way down before this attack happened. And the colonel was saying that they came over, it was an alert went out that it was a terrorist attack, but they didn't realize the scale of it. They thought it was a couple terrorists that came over and they were combated by the police force and other people in the kibbutz. It was a fight going on. He didn't think it was that many people. They thought it was a small incursion. They didn't realize it was 7,000 terrorists. You know how crazy that is? I want y'all to put this in perspective real quick and I'll get to some more evidence. Do you know how crazy 7,000 terrorists are? A guy goes on a Virginia Tech campus with a handgun and killed 32 people. One person. We have seen active shooters and all of this. You got the guy in Vegas that killed 50 people. You got the Pulse nightclub that got killed, 50, 60 people in there. Pulse nightclub, one shooter, one club. Imagine 7,000 terrorists. America, I hope that the guy that never happens, our equipment and stuff is a little better. We don't have Rosh Hashanah and all this other stuff. So we kind of on alert, and everybody got a gun. In Israel, everybody don't have a gun. Just because they serve in the IDF, they're no longer in the IDF, and they may not be carrying a gun. And this is at the kibbutz, too. So these people don't even have a gun on them. They have guns stored in these places, and they're kind of like the liberals. They love the Palestinian people. That's why they came and killed them. They invited them to their house. They advocated for the Palestinian people, and look who they killed first. Okay. But anyway, they got overwhelmed. And the IDF guy said it was like 12 hours before they can get it under control. You put that stuff in perspective, the damage that one active shooter can do in America, imagine 7,000, we would have trouble combating that level of force. So anyway, let's go to the next two. 105. This is Charlie Kirk also saying negative things about Israel on camera. Roll the clip.
But the fact is now Bibi and the Israeli hard right government has a mandate. I got to be careful the way I say this. They're going to try to ethnically cleanse Gaza.
Yep.
I mean, I don't use that term lightly. Okay. They're talking about basically removing 2.5 million people from there. Okay. And honestly, they have a mandate to go seek justice and revenge. They do. This idea that they need to have a truce or a peace treaty, that's morally crap after you see women and children be burned alive and dragged to the streets. But there are some serious questions here, Patrick. And let me tell you, my pattern recognition over the last 5 years has become pretty sharp. COVID, Maui fires, Epstein. When I see a story and it doesn't click, our guts are usually right.
All right, so openly on Patrick Bet-David, he said that. And you telling me now here's the thing I want people to understand, and then I'm gonna bring in one more clip. Charlie Kirk is very clear that he began to question the Israeli government. I know it. You should know it. Everybody around him knows it. That does not mean that he turned on Israel and his Zionist perspective of Israel's right to exist. His frustration was with the government, not the existence of Israel. People say he changed. No, he became more critical of the government. He wrote a whole letter to Benjamin Netanyahu of his criticism constructively.
Right.
So there's no question that Charlie Kirk became more critical of the Israeli government. Charlie Kirk was on a podcast. I mean, he was on a stage the other day saying that he disagreed with the government of Israel. He disagreed with the fact that they are pushing LGBTQ and all this other crazy stuff. He disagreed with that. But he would never change his belief that Israel has a right to exist as a Zionist. He said it on camera. I'm going to find the clip. Let's get the last clip in, 106. Roll it.
And Jewish donors, they have a lot of explaining to do, a lot of decoupling to do, because Jewish donors have been the number one funding mechanism of radical, open border, neoliberal, quasi-Marxist policies, cultural institutions, and nonprofits. This is a beast created by secular Jews. And now it's coming for Jews, and they're like, what on earth happened? And it's not just the colleges. It's the nonprofits, it's the movies, it's Hollywood, it's all of it. It's like time for you guys to wake up and say no more, draw a line in the sand. I don't care if you hate me.
Now, look, I agree with him 1,000%. Anybody with a brain stem can criticize secular Jews and understand that every Jew ain't the same. You should criticize secular Jews. Secular Jews are just as ignorant as black folks.
Dang,
black
bro.
people still vote for these Democrats, ain't done nothing. Secular Jews out there voting for Mamdani. Am I going to get canceled now? Because I'm saying, no, you don't get canceled for being rational. You get canceled for lying and pushing conspiracy theories. But Charlie Kirk said it openly, didn't he? On his show, in front of the world. And you telling me on stage, he's telling Tucker, go Max. Like he can't say anything. He said it. Charlie Kirk was openly critical of Israel, the government. Come on, bro.
All right. Shout out to Officer Tatum. You know what? Hey, I give Tatum grief because I think he definitely soft pedaled on Candace, but I think he's right on the money there. What do y'all think? Comment down below. Let me know. Shout out to the best, the most electrifying live chat on the planet. I do want to say shout out to, let me get through these very quickly. Y'all are so gracious. Thank you so much for the very kind supers. Let's real quick right here. The Nerve Ensemble with the $3 super. Great channel watching you from Sydney, Australia. Shout out from the land down under. Good to see you. As well as another Australia block, Candace. No visa for Coco. And you know what? I appreciate the $3 Australian. And like Candace, why don't you just stay here in the United States? We got you. We got you. We got you. Madre Selova with the 119. I forgot what this is. Dog, thank you so much. She says this, thanks for standing for what is right. Absolutely. Thank you very, very much for the very kind super as well. We're coming up in here. Maggie with the €5 says this, as an Aussie, Carlson and Megyn Kelly are not independent. Since early 2025, they have managed their Red Sea. They are managed by Red Sea Entertainment, owned by Fox. Really? I didn't know all the ins and outs. I've heard people mention that, so I appreciate that for sure. Thank you. And again, with that $5 here, says Yanni's Bills, says this, I'm so sick of this anti-Israel crap. If they care about America first, and they would care more about China than tiny Israel. That's a great point. What about all of the other countries? Why is again, I say Israel is like a punctuation mark. Like every sentence ends with a period or exclamation point or question. And why is it always Israel, that punctuation mark? Thank you so much. Cap Jacks with the 5 says this. It's time for Brandon to call out Candace. Say her name, Brandon. Friends tell friends that they are wrong. Say her name. I'm right there with you. I understand 100% what you mean there. And I thank you so much. And I want to say thank you to Created by the Divine for the $50. She's a stream sponsor. And just real simple statement, go Jay Witt podcast. I like that. Go Max. Go Max. Y'all, thank you so very much. That is extremely kind of you. Thank you so much. rounding these bases. We got Phantom up in here with the $5. Says this, I think Tucker's dog who attacked him while he was asleep was named Max. There we go, right? So Charlie was saying, go Max, to have that dog maul him again in his sleep. How can we disagree with that? I agree with that 100%. Go Max. It's such a crazy story, man. Bronx Girl, thank you so much for the $10 super. Why is Megan playing defense so hard for Tucker and Candace? Thoughts? Personally, I think that she's landed in the wrong spot at 100%. For whatever reason, whether you want to say she's getting paid or she just has really poor intel, I have no idea why. Maybe she really believed that Ben Shapiro lied to her, and then later on, when she reviewed the evidence, she came with that bias that he lied to me. How dare he lie to me? And then she translated with the evidence that she read, because she doesn't sound like she even watched videos. She sounds like she watched clips. So I think she's just landing in the wrong spot because she's starting from the wrong spot. Shout out for sure. And what do we have here? Thank you again. Created by the divine. Goodness gracious. Dear Brandon, you speak very well. Can you please speak on your bestie, Candace, though? Tucker is irrelevant. I mean, I think you're right on the money. Thank you so much for that $10 super, and I agree with you 100%. Y'all, thank you so much for tapping in, everybody. Candace is supposed to go live at 6:15. It's 6:17. We are on Black folk time, I guess. So we're going to give her a moment. I'm sure they got to finish the editing. They got to finish the editing of the live stream and make sure it's ready to go and populate. But I do want to say thank you all to everybody who's hopped in. If I've earned it at all, please, let's go ahead and hit that like button. I really appreciate it. And let me go ahead and make you Created by the Divine is the stream sponsor. Shout out. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for that. And thank you so much to my moderators. I appreciate y'all holding it down. And by the way, if somebody's asking or wondering, I'm trying out a new feature that allows me to stream vertically. Let me see how it looks, by the way. I'm able to stream vertically as well as horizontally. At the current moment, I'm looking at it. It looks kind of cool. Hopefully, apparently, YouTube would like us to stream in a way that's more phone friendly. So they wanted me to try this out. You don't like it? Oh, no, you hate it? Oh, no. Hate's a harsh word now. Now, you still have both options now. The horizontal is available as well as the vertical. So I'm not giving you one or the other. I just, choose one. I tried it out this morning when I was on A Righteous Perspective. It wasn't bad, especially when you have a panel. It does look a lot cooler. So maybe I just don't look cool. Maybe I need some friends on here. Maybe I need to have some people hop on or something like that. But I guess the idea is that if somebody wants to stream or watch it on their phone, shout out to the Ultra. See, you can't say go Max. This is the go Max is crazy. You can keep your phone in a portrait mode versus trying to hold it sideways. That's the only thing I could think of. But we got you don't like the side, just me? I got you. I'm with that. It makes it look small. Okay. I can see what you're saying there. I'm looking at it. I can kind of see that. All right, let's bring your cousin in. Here she goes. Let's go. All right, so I got a feeling she's going to talk about these pastors. Pastor's about to catch some flack tonight. I got this bad feeling about it. So pastors are going to catch it. And looking at her thumbnail, I bet she's going to bring up Kanye finally. We're going to see. I think she's going to bring up Kanye. So we'll see. Yeah, my bingo board is going to get full. I don't know about CIA and FBI. I got to come up with some shenanigans on that one. We'll find it some way. We're not above cheating, so it's all good. It's all good. Thank y'all, everybody who's hopped in. Man, we got a lot of people up here. 839 folks. Shout out to y'all. The 20 that are on X watching. Appreciate y'all as well. What we got here? Megan needs that secret Mossad B treatment. That is hilarious. Shout out Phantom with the 2. I appreciate you. What'd you say, Jalen? Thank you for being the voice of reason out here. Go Max. See, we would ruin it if we made a Go Max shirt before they did. Shout out JD. Would you share that with the chat? The photo? I said, yes, I got you queued up. Hold on 1 second. Make sure I got that right. Did I download it? I did. Yes, I got you ready, my brother. All right. Well, since Candace is on Black People Time, real quick, shout out to JD. He sent me this earlier. The Crush Part 2. That is hilarious. If you know that movie from the 90s, I believe it was, with Melissa Silverstein or Silverstone, I think that is hilarious. We're going to have to find a way to keep these. I might find a use for this one. I don't know what we're going to do with it. Maybe it'll be on a thumbnail or something. This is spot on the money, brother. Thank you so much for that, man. We need some good laughs up in here. We like to laugh up in here. Are we going to bring Candace back on? Move this. Candace back on. They still not starting. They on that Black folk time. They not in a hurry. They said, look, we wasted all day. We still editing this video. Alyssa Silverstone. Y'all not gonna let me mispronounce somebody from your childhood. Y'all do not let me get away with that stuff. Which, by the way, I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much. I'm just glad y'all didn't know me when I was trying to pronounce Vivek Ramaswamy's name the first time, and y'all had me for lunch. Man, you did see this movie? I've never saw it before. That is interesting. Yeah, y'all had me for lunch if y'all heard me butcher that man's name like that. That was crazy work. I don't know what I was doing. She's always like, that is very interesting. Naturally called Candy Crush. Oh, wow. That is hilarious. That is very good. But the chat on the video is hard to read. On here? I hope not. I hope it's okay. Absolutely. Thank y'all so much, man. I appreciate Alyssa. Y'all look, y'all gonna get me. This one done spelled it out. Done a phonetic your boy. They just said, look, phonetically, Jason, you're not gonna get away with this.
All right, you guys, happy Friday.
Green hearts
and
in the chat
I'm
if
just
you
going to
can
jump
hear.
right in and tell you that somehow all of my investigations are converging. Like literally all of them that we've done on this show. And I'm freaking out. I would have never thought in a million years that there would be something which connected the Chaos book, which I got obsessed with and was like, it's required reading for this podcast, connected to the Brigitte Macron case. I'm going to tell you about that. Connected to Ye, me telling you all about what happened behind the scenes when he was effectively kicked out of Hollywood, and the reason why I refuse to publicly condemn him despite insistence from the brood of vipers. I don't know how it's possible, but Charlie Kirk's assassination is pulling in all of these elements. And we need to speak a lot more about the Calvary Chapel and also Britney Spears. Suddenly Britney Spears is here. Britney Spears and everything that happened to her is now increasingly relevant. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Candace.
Y'all, that woman that got Britney Spears up in the chat. Y'all, type Britney in the chat. How did Britney get into the chat? This is fascinating. How this woman comes up with these things. I am intrigued. I'm sorry. Morbidly intrigued.
I don't know how much more I can enforce to you all that we have to steel ourselves against psychological operations. It is all about psychology. That is the name of the game. We are living inside of one big psychological operation. I am convinced. I've seen enough. There's just no other way to present that information. It's a fact now that everything is fake and gay, and dangerously so. I was freaking out realizing that quite.
Do you realize when she says everything is fake, that means her too? Do you realize that? Like everything? But of course, the candies. Oh, by the way, shout out to the candies. Y'all know y'all got a seat up in the front of the church. Come on up here. We already saved y'all a pew up here. How is it that everything is fake except Candace? And that's not a cult. How does that even work? Y'all, please let me know in the chat.
Literally all of our investigations over the past 2 years were coming together here. Brigitte Macron, where did we end up, by the way? Where did we leave off on the Brigitte Macron?
You're still being sued.
To you guys about MK Ultra. How odd it was that of everything I said in my series, Brigitte Macron and Emmanuel had a heart attack when I started discussing MK Ultra. They brought it up 18 times in the lawsuit against me, way too many times in the lawsuit against me. And I realized we were on the right path discussing this.
That's not true.
It brought me back to that road. It brought me back to the Hate Asbury Clinic. We're going to talk about that. And the program that they're running throughout California. Yay. When I said why I didn't speak out was because I recognized that he had done something tremendously brave, and that
That poor man.
entire mafia descended on him. It was a psychological operation. They put him on a Psych 5150 hold, which is one of their strategies.
I saw that.
And effectively, he had been MK Ultra'd, right? By putting on that Psych 5150 hold. Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh my
I did a mini
gosh.
series on Jeffrey Epstein. We spoke about the blackmail. We spoke about the trafficking through big companies, because nobody blinks an eye. If it's a modeling agency, nobody blinks an eye. As he was funding tons of mechanisms, particularly models in movies. Harvey Weinstein connection. I spoke with him. It was very weird that they took out Harvey Weinstein. That is a fact.
At this point, y'all, we are now watching we're watching a living, breathing Rube Goldberg machine. I used to, as a school teacher, most of y'all may or may not know, I used to be a school teacher. I used to teach first and second grade. And one of my favorite things to do was to have my kids create machines that would do silly things, like deliver a book across the room. But they have to, again, you've seen these Rube Goldberg machines. They also really like dominoes, those events where you just try to make as many dominoes fall as possible. And this is what we're watching here. We're watching a physical example of a Rube Goldberg machine. That's all it is. We do not have to take this seriously by any means or measures. This is insane. Okay, let's go. Shout out to the best live chat.
Via the Me Too movement. And I had posited to the audiences that movement may have been about hostile takeovers of companies. And of course, as we've been discussing on the show, Zionist Inc. Everybody understands what Zionist Inc. is now. You see it everywhere. You cannot question Israel at all, or they descend on you.
It's funny because when you challenge Candace, they descend on you. They descend on you as well. So real quick, if you have Israel Did It on your bingo board, you can go ahead and have it. You can have it right now. Bingo board, of course. Yeah, that's it. I'm sure she's going to call out a random country, so we're going to just let her keep going. Shout out to Candy.
Somehow the Charlie Kirk assassination is bringing together every single last one of these themes that we have been exploring. So where did we leave off yesterday?
It's the culmination of crazy.
We spoke about the Calvary Chapel. We spoke about Rob McCoy being the lead pastor in Thousand Oaks, one of their many churches across the United States. And my sense, which every Christian Zionist influencer under the sun is trying to ward me off of. Oh, how dare she? I can't even believe it. Bibi can blow up thousands and tens of thousands of kids, but Candace investigating the Charlie Kirk assassination is crazy. It's unbiblical. It only furthered my sense that faith had somehow been infiltrated. Faith had become a military operation, or perhaps from the 60s onward, that's what it's always been, right? Too many instances, as I showed you yesterday, of trafficking and sexual abuse. You have to begin asking the question whether or not this is systemic and it's on purpose, and who these pastors are working for. Then I get an email yesterday, which made me perk up. A flurry of emails, actually. Thank you, guys. Telling me to stay the course because the Calvary Chapel was also involved in Britney Spears' conservatorship. What? Excuse me. Now, to be clear, I never got into the Britney Spears web. There were so many TikTok.
Y'all, at this point, I really believe that people are punking Candace. I really believe in my heart of hearts. I don't know who it is. And if it's anybody in this live chat, shame on you. You're in 0-second timeout. Okay. Somebody is just sending her foolishness. Okay. People are just sending her anything. Now, Calvary Chapel is related to Britney Spears. Okay. I'm telling you right now, if somebody gets this woman to say that Calvary Chapel is somehow or another tied to the deletion of Prince, I am going to lose my mind. Ma'am, well, how is this woman? Yo, I'm gonna send her a text and say Calvary Chapel's responsible for that dead patch in my front yard. And I'm gonna sound very convincing. Calvary Chapel's responsible for the dead patch of grass in my front yard. And the reason I cannot get that matter resolved is because of underground bee farm that's going on in Georgia. That's what I'm going to do. This woman is insufferable. How do y'all take her seriously? If you're a Candy, please in the chat, tell me, how do you take her seriously? I really want to know, because I don't know how to take her seriously at this point. I don't. Britney Spears, I entered the chat. Hold on, I got back up just a little smidgen. Britney is in the chat. Lord have mercy.
Excuse me. Now, to be clear, I never got into the Britney Spears web. There were so many TikToks, so many people that did the research, dedicated their time to it. I just wasn't one of them. And I will therefore make it clear that I am not an expert on this case. I obviously could not have become an expert overnight. But after
that's not stopped you at no time. Nothing has ever stopped you from speaking on a matter that you don't know about. We've literally watched you talk about topics, Candace, in real time. You have Dunning-Kruger effect on crack cocaine, Dunning-Kruger effect on that Breaking Bad blue meth. Nothing stops you. It don't matter if you mispronounce something. It don't matter if you just heard about it. You will talk about it. Do not act righteous now. And by the way, shout out to that pause right there. That's going to be on the thumbnail. I don't care what nobody say. I'm putting that on the thumbnail. Let's go.
Part of that being around him when everything went down, I got the gist of the fact that celebrities are very much controlled, what they can't say, who they're allowed to date, and if they step one bit out of the carefully orchestrated narrative, something comes down on them and begins to control them in operation. I get the gist. Now, so that we can have a little bit more of a gist, particularly who they were referencing is Lou Taylor. Lou Taylor apparently was very much involved. That is what has been heavily insinuated, and even by Britney Spears herself.
If you need random person on your bingo board, if you have random person on your bingo board, go ahead and take random person. Who's Lou Taylor? Did Britney delete Charlie? Did she do that? Hit me, baby, one more time. What in the world? I cannot take this seriously. We are no longer serious. Candace Owens is not serious. How do you say not serious in another language? We're going to have to make a shirt that says not serious.
Got involved and pushed for this conservatorship. That is what has been alleged. I'm going to allow Brett Cooper, I'm just going to rip this content from her show, hopefully she doesn't mind, to explain how Britney Spears was effectively infiltrated. Take a listen.
We need to understand a little more of Lou Taylor's history. So, Lou Taylor became involved with Britney Spears in 2007 after she was hired to help manage Jamie Lynn Spears, and this was right around the time that Jamie got pregnant. Now, somehow, no one really knows, I mean, this is not documented at all, she was brought into the fold of this family by their father, Jamie. This is Jamie Sr. And by 2008, so less than a year later, Lou was going on TV shows as the family's spokesperson to speak on behalf of Britney.
Lou Taylor is the business manager for Britney Spears' father, mother, and younger sister, Jamie Lynn. Lou, good morning to you.
Here you have Britney that needs to have some security somewhere, that every single thing she does and every single person she has a relationship with doesn't become an opportunity to be exploited. I mean, when do you ever rest in that if you're constantly in fear of being exploited? Every day, Jamie goes to work as a professional chef, asking the Lord to give him the strength to honor the people he works for in the midst of circumstances. That Lynn Spears is a mother that is brokenhearted just because she's apart from her daughter, that she loves her daughter so much, and again, asking every day for God to give her strength and for her to continue to have hope.
And her mom stated in her memoir, Through the Storm, that Lou and Britney's father had discussed putting her in a conservatorship shortly after that happened. So this was all around 2008. But the missing piece here, and guys, this is what shocked me, is that Jamie Sr. had around this time allegedly filed for bankruptcy. He had done this multiple times. And Lou Taylor's firm gave Britney's dad a loan of $40,000. Now, we don't know why, but he had just filed for bankruptcy, and this woman gave him $40,000. Now, within months of this loan, the conservatorship of Britney Spears was implemented. This was in February of 2008. But Lou and her father, even though Brittany was apparently not able to function, she needed to be under this conservatorship, they kept her career going. Listen to this. Only months after arguing that his daughter was incapacitated and therefore needed to be under his control, Mr. Spears committed her to an 8-month tour named Circus. TriStar, that is Lou Taylor's company, was hired to serve as the tour's business manager, handling its finances and accounting, and the tour grossed an estimated $130 million. Money that was now under the control of Lou Taylor and Jamie Spears, the father.
So she was mentally ill, but not mentally ill enough to prevent her from making them more money and allowing them to control their money. So what we're describing here is effectively an infiltration. And instantly, with Lou Taylor talking about God and prayers, that's a lot of what you start to see. And then when you look beneath that layer, you start to go, okay, you start to ask questions. Then suddenly the God people get upset. Okay, what she's describing there is effectively an infiltration, but it's going to get crazier. And I want you to hold on to that idea of an infiltration, because also yesterday, after I covered Rob McCoy's Potter's Field scandal, the one that happened up in Montana, where I described to you an organization, a faith-based organization, and I told you that then suddenly people were wondering what's happening with the finances, didn't know where the money was going. Rob McCoy steps in as the CFO, and there's articles about it, and essentially this organization sort of disappears overnight. Well, someone who was involved intimately with this scandal mess.
Okay, I'm gonna take a quick stop for a second and shout out again. What a great pause, right? I just looked up Britney Spears' religion, and she was raised Southern Baptist, but she identifies. Does anybody want to guess what faith system Britney Spears identified as most recently? Does anybody? Because it's kind of odd that Candace didn't seem to know this part from her deep investigation. That's right. She identified as a Catholic, a Kabbalist. And now, of course, she's claiming to be an atheist. So where are the God people in this? I'm just wondering, Candace, this is ridiculous. Now she does identify as an atheist, but she was raised Southern Baptist. When she was shaking her tail feather, she was a Kabbalist, which is some kind of form of Catholicism. And now she professes to be an atheist. Where are the God people at? Where are the God people? I'm just trying to get this, make sure I understand how this works. And so, and even more than that, I'm trying to understand, what in the Sam devil has this got to do with anything? What are you talking about, Candace? This is embarrassing. Y'all, come on. Shout out. Dude, how do you keep pausing like this, man? I'm a gangster with the pausing. Let's go. Greenheart's in the chat when you can hear.
Messaged me and said, Candace, no, you have it completely wrong because you're reading what's in the press. The Potter's Field scandal, Potter's Field was actually a healthy, functional organization. This was actually Christian ministry until, and again, I'm going to say this is alleged, but I'm looking further into.
What stopped you before?
Until Rob McCoy got involved, and then he intentionally scandalized it and staged an effective hostile takeover with a few other board members. That's what this person is alleging, and they've sent emails and some backup proof, which we need to go through before we can present that as a fact. But it piqued my.
Is that not the example that I just gave? You literally get a piece of information and you share it before you vetted it, before you find out. What if the information that you're sharing, Candace, is 100% false? What if I sent you that information? My name is Jason, and I emailed you that from a burner account. And you find out that I did it. I hoodwinked you. I bamboozled you. But now you've already put it out there. This is reckless. This is why Joe Pag says that she is not a journalist. She's not a journalist. This is not how you do journalism.
Interest. The idea of a hostile takeover designed as faith-based almost, right? Like we're doing the right thing here and we're trying to help. Let's stay the course with this idea of companies, people, and organizations being taken over via scandals, because the people who seem to get involved don't exactly have the qualifications to be in the C-suite or to be the heads of companies at all. And as Brett Cooper is about to lay out, Lou Taylor's qualifications are somewhat lacking. Take it away again, Brett Cooper.
Okay, I'm just going to ask then, what is What is Candace Owens' bona fides to do this? We looked at her bona fides earlier in the show. Her resume is lacking. Shall we agree? Can we agree that her journalistic resume leaves something to be desired? It leaves a little bit of room for improvement. Dare I say it needs to be fattened up a little.
Another thing that I think is important to understand about Lou Taylor is that Lou is not a talent manager. She's not here to just oversee brands or help deals be made. She's not like an agent or that kind of thing. She was playing the role of business manager, which is a financial role. Even though Lou Taylor had no financial background, she was not even an accountant. And most business managers, my business manager, is an accountant. Lou Taylor actually started her career in a church working alongside her husband, who at the time was a pastor at Calvary Church in Brentwood, California. And interestingly enough, according to financial documents that are in the public domain, Jamie Sr. was giving 10% of his income that he was making off of Britney Spears from the conservatorship to the church where Lou Taylor's husband was a pastor. Read this. Mr. Spears at times gave 10% of his conservatorship income to the Taylor's Calvary Chapel Brentwood, a practice known as tithing, according to a 2010 financial document. Mr. Spears gave tens of thousands of dollars in 1 year alone to the church, which is about 500 miles away from where he lives in Louisiana. Now, obviously, since then, all of this information has come out, and Britney has now accused Lou of playing a major role in her exploitation, and even though Lou denies all of this and continues to deny everything, through emails obtained through Britney's trials, it is clear that in some way, Lou was involved. This is from the LA Times. Britney Spears' lawyer, emails show ex-business manager helped set up conservatorship. And in recent years, Britney has even gone so far as to accuse her father and Lou of allegedly having an affair and unlawfully using her money to fund trips of their own. This headline from Daily Mail reads, Britney Spears accuses dad Jamie of having an affair with her ex-business manager Lou Taylor and claims he charged her estate for the pair's trip to the Holy Land to get baptized. And guys, this is not Lou's only controversy. She is not just wrapped up in the Britney Spears world. Just a couple of years ago, The New Yorker reported that she also tried to place Courtney Love and Lindsay Lohan into conservatorships.
Oh, we're going to get there, because as I started following, I'm like, the Calvary Church again, suddenly involved. And that part that she's mentioning about the tithing, since I put onto my Instagram stories that, what is this? You're telling me that this woman, Lou Taylor, also was involved in the Calvary Church, and I was not paying attention to anything that was going on with Britney Spears at all. And I've arrived at this same conclusion that there's some sort of an infiltration that seems to be happening with Calvary chapels. And here's where we are. That's ridiculous. This can't be a coincidence. There can't be this many people that are having this experience and have this much scandal involving this church. This doesn't make sense to me. Well, I put this up on my stories this morning, and 2 other people reached out to me who worked with Lou Taylor and described exactly what she's referring to, this system of tithing that Lou Taylor makes them say 10% has to go to the.
So one more time, we could have a 10-hour conversation about tithing. We could have a 10-hour conversation about it. But I just want you to listen to, and this is not germane to just Calvary Chapel. Christians have been giving 10% of their income since time immemorial, right? Catholics do too, though. So my question is, if Candace is a Catholic, why is she acting like she's never heard of tithing before? Whether you agree with it, that's not what we're talking. I mean, I know people who are not Christian that know about tithing. They know the whole 10% thing. So why is it that Candace acts like she's never heard this before? It really, truly is boggling her mind. Go back and watch. We're going to pull it back and watch. She sounds like she's never heard of it before. Why is that? If she's a Christian, and remember, she alleges that she was raised a Protestant, allegedly, and then she converted to be a Catholic. And I'm going to go ahead and muddy the water. I'm going to go ahead and poison the well real quick. If all of this stuff is demonstration of a handler, how is it that her husband is not her handler? I'm just going to go ahead and poison the well. All the stuff that she's telling us, how is it that her husband doesn't fall into the barrel of being a handler? And why do I keep stopping her like this? I'm amazing.
Church, if they want to be blessed. I'm not kidding. 10% has to go to the church if they want God to bless them. This is why they should do this. And then also directing them to invest in other companies without necessarily revealing that they're involved in those other companies and that God will bless them and they'll pray over them. What is happening? How can there be this many Calvary Chapel scandals and stories? She also mentioned Lindsay Lohan. She's not lying there. Well-loved teenager, fantastic actress who didn't love Parent Trap when they were growing up and then somehow became addicted to drugs. Suddenly, her dad, Michael Lohan, you might not remember this, but he got in front of a mic speaking to the press and called out Lou Taylor. Take a listen.
When Lindsay was supposed to go into Morningstar Rehab, they started to reconstruct everything there for Lindsay to accommodate her. Sean Chapman Holly, Sean and Lou Taylor leaked that to the press because they wanted Lindsay to get out sooner and have her in UCLA so she wouldn't spend much time in the rehab. They're destroying my daughter's life. I'm praying that Dina finally gets on the same page with me and does something about this.
Now, Skylar, do we have the email, by the way, before I even get into what Courtney Love told me? Do we have the email somebody sent me? And guys, just, I blacked out a ton of this email because it's way too identifying. And this sounds like a very scary syndicate, in my opinion. So I don't want to put anybody at risk. But
Yo, this woman is hilarious. I don't want to put anybody at risk, but I'm about to do so. I don't want to put you at risk, but I'm about to put you at risk. Doesn't it sound like the video that we watched from Milk Bar earlier about how she didn't care that she was doxing people? She doesn't care that she's putting people's information out there and putting their lives in jeopardy. Please convince me that this woman cares. Please. Yeah, I'm laughing at her. This is crazy work. This woman is insufferable. Shout out to Candy, because my goodness in the morning, she is a joy. You're going to have six-pack by this summer, y'all, because we just going to watch this and laugh. So you're going to make sure you squeeze your abs when you're laughing. You're going to get your six-pack. You're welcome. Let's go.
Somebody who very much knew Lou Taylor, worked with Lou Taylor, sent me this, which is interesting.
Dang.
The whole top is blacked out. It says, I have since come to think that Rob and Lou Taylor's church is just a front for them and a ruse. I actually have many suspicions about at least Lou being tied to possibly the CIA and Mossad. All of the security that was hired under the name of, she's writing black box, she means black cube security. That was also the security that was provided for Harvey Weinstein. It's really just the Mossad agents who now are mostly with the Kardashians. Now, we're going to talk about Ye in a bit.
Kardashians.
I did go to Israel with Rob Taylor and a few other people from our church in blank and know that they have many ties there. I've also heard that Lou has connections and ties to Ghislaine Maxwell and Epstein, etc. I'm going to say all of this is allegedly. Obviously, this is an email tip. I have not confirmed any of that. The reporter's trying to...
So let me just make sure I have it right. Because y'all, real quick. So somebody could not take some information, craft a story, throw it through an AI generator, and say, write this as if you were a 53-year-old woman from Southern California who is reaching out to a journalist about a terrible event that happened at your local church. Have that thing spit out, cut and paste it and put it in an email and send it to these fools. And you mean to tell me that that can't happen? She already told you she hasn't vetted it. So she's putting this information out without any vetting. She does not know if this is true. So it is very possible this could not be true. It could very well be somebody who has put this through an AI and has just come up with a story. If you follow me, there's several content creators that are in the chat right now. I'm pretty good at prompting as it relates to Chat GPT. I could get Chat GPT to write a fantastic story that would have Candy running around in circles. She'll be looking at herself. Okay? This is craziness. And I'm just trying to figure out, how is she moving this recklessly? This is my last question. I know, shout out to everybody in the best live chat on the internet. How is it that she's behaving like this? How does she not fear being sued? Even on a slap basis, even just on a nuisance doggone lawsuit. How does she move like this? This is going to be studied by science. This is amazing to me. Like, she literally is saying, I don't know if this is true. but I'm going to tell you about it. Wow. Yeah, I don't know if this is true, but I'm going to tell you about it anyway. I don't want to put anybody in jeopardy, anybody's life in anybody's life in peril, but I'm going to do it anyway. This is crazy.
Connect some of the dots, and they told me that the house that Britney was being held out in 2019 was tied to Epstein somehow via Tony Blair. Britney Spears lives in Thousand Oaks, California, as does Justin Bieber. I believe Ann Diddy, has a house there as well. I know Lou Taylor built a house there and would find it very hard to believe that she does not know Rob McCoy, seeing that he was the mayor for Thousand Oaks and is the pastor of the large Calvary Chapel Church there. Before Robin, Lou Taylor moved to Brentwood, Tennessee. I think Robin and Lou Taylor moved to Brentwood, Tennessee. They lived in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and attended a very large Calvary Chapel Church there. And they were mentored by a man named Bob Coy. We brought him up yesterday, the pedophile scandal that we mentioned yesterday, who has since been broiled in scandal for sexual allegations and I believe had to step down. He mentored them in the process of starting their church.
Okay. Real quick, just in case you need evidence that I've made this case, and shout out to the best live chat. I've made this case that Candace's show is recorded. Okay. And a lot of you all are like, there's some people that agree with me. A lot of people disagree. It's okay. It's all right. I want you to look at the date on this video. This email. It was Thursday, November 13th, 2025 at 10:59 a.m. Let's just call it 11 for easy math. That was yesterday at 11 o'clock. Am I to believe that she's reading this now? Fresh off the cuff? No, they recorded this, y'all. They've already done this, man. This is not, there's no way possible that that's going to be the case. But let me just ask you this. Yesterday, when she talked about all of these people, how serendipitous, how convenient it is that the day she talks about Bob Coy and Calvary down in Fort Lauderdale and this, that, and the other in Thousand Oaks, somebody just happens to send her this compelling email outlining every last point that she brought up. Every point? Everything? Okay. All right. Okay. I'm totally supposed to believe that. I mean, they throwing in everything from the news, from Epstein to Weinstein to Diddy. Is Taylor Swift going to get and get some? Where's Beyonce? Anybody seen Beyonce? This is craziness, y'all.
In Brentwood, Tennessee. That's interesting. It would be foolish for us to think that Lou Taylor does not know Rob McCoy. She's exactly right. All these people live in Thousand Oaks, California, and he's been pastoring that church up until July of this year for a very long time. And it's about to get even crazier because back in January of this year, someone notified me that Courtney Love wanted to reach out to me. So there you go. Brett Cooper has mentioned that Courtney Love has also had allegations about Lou Taylor. We all know who Courtney Love is. If for nothing else, it's because the media has convinced most people that she had something to do with the murder of her husband, Kurt Cobain, right? That's the reality, right? I didn't grow up with this music. I didn't listen to this music, but I know the Kurt Cobain story, and I know that somewhere in the back of my mind, I was kind of conditioned to believe that she had something to do with his murder. It was never explicitly said, but there was enough innuendo to get us there. Anyway, when I made contact with her, it was because she had been watching my podcast and she knew that I was obsessed with the book Chaos. It just.
Okay, so there's CIA. If you need CIA on they already said CIA, but on your bingo board, you know what? We're just going to go on and take FBI too. Well, I'm taking FBI because I can. I don't care. Real quick, I just think this is funny. And again, y'all, shout out to the best live chat on the internet. Hopefully I'm not taking too much of your time and stopping and laughing at this. But isn't it funny that Candace lives in Nashville, Tennessee? Apparently Rob McCoy was in Brentwood, Tennessee. Why does she not even mention that? Why does that not make her antennas go up and say, oh, why is she not concerned about or even thinking about or even hypothesizing like, oh, there's one, he was in my state, whatever like that. I think because she'd be lying, man. This is ridiculous. And then last thing. The reason why Candace, in my opinion, the reason why Candace is so far gone is because she has obsessed over this book. She doesn't obsess over the scriptures. She doesn't obsess over books that will edify and build her up. That's why she would read or listen to Allie Beth Stuckey and say that's fake Christianity. This is real Christianity to her. Something like this, obsessing over this book, that's real Christianity. Because she would listen to Allie Beth and say that's fake Christianity. Just saying, making a point. Let's go, Jason.
My mind just exploded,
Your
understanding
mind exploded. It's crazy.
how severe a psychological operation could be, the media being complicit, convincing us that murders happened. I ended the book and I said, did anybody die that night? That is how wild of a journey it is. The same year, of course, as the moon landing, an entire psychological operation. And you just go, what is real? What is not real? I don't know. If you have not read that book, you should read it.
No, you don't
And
need
I
to.
became even more obsessed with learning everything that I could about the 60s and the military grade MK Ultra program that our government employed in place after JFK was shot, right? Actually putting journalists on payroll to control our minds. If you are new here, you absolutely must read that book. You have to understand how this thing works. This is why I put together my book club, because it's so
I challenge
much
you on that. You
that
don't
you
have
just
to.
start to wonder what is real, what is fake. Are we actually living in a simulation? How could I have believed all of these things about people on the basis of what I read in the media because they gave you some sort of an authority, right? They present themselves as some sort of a authority, or they have expertise in this area that they fact check. And I think post-COVID, we're all ready to digest that these are psychological operations. Courtney at that time, Courtney Love, told me so much information in January of this year. It was like she basically wrote me a novel. I couldn't process it. It was information overload. And if she had sent that to anybody but me, someone would have looked at this information and said, oh, this is just crazy. She's crazy. Truly, she's obviously insane, because people that are outside of the Hollywood matrix cannot grasp or comprehend what goes on inside of it. It's spiritually so offensive that we go, there's no way all of this can be going on.
Then how can you understand it, Candace? If you are outside of the Hollywood matrix, according to what you just said, how do you understand it? And how do you know that your interpretation of what you're quote unquote understanding is correct? What is your metric for that? And she's going to say something is spiritual, which again, I find slightly comical, because only time she brings up spiritual is when it's in a negative sense. Anytime that something is spiritual and it's good, she speaks about it very, almost like she's spitting it out. Like it's almost like it's a cuss word. Tithing and faith and pastors. But anything, when she says demons, those are flowery words. Negative spirit, absolutely. Oh yeah, that's good. It just seems really odd to me that this is, again, Candace says she's a Christian.
And then you join my book club and you read Hollywood Babylon, and you're like, oh, this is actually how the system was built in Hollywood. It was built off of this stuff. So while I personally did not understand the nature of what goes on inside of Hollywood, I did start to understand it after everything happened with Ye. Okay. I saw it up close, and even I thought Ye was crazy, or was being hysterical when he turned around to me in my house and he said, when all that was going down and Adidas was canceling him and Gap was canceling him, he was like, are you an op too? Are you an op too? And I was like, what on earth are you talking about? Until I fully came to realize what he meant. It started with that book Chaos, and I've just done so much research since. Now I fully understand what he was saying when he was asking me that question, if I was also an op, right? Everything then happened to me in 2024, and I am certain that Charlie was also going through that process as well, where you start to realize there are literally psychological operatives in your life. He was asking me, Ye, are you a part of the psychological operation that is meant to control me? Are you one of these handlers that's meant to stop me from breaking out of this effective mental prison? I'm realizing something's wrong, and everyone's telling me there's something wrong with me when I'm saying, no, there's something wrong with this, right? Why are you trying to make me think I'm crazy? And I'm going back to my own thing for tweeting that genocide is always wrong. The operatives are right. Oh, don't you understand how that could have been anti-Semitic? Right? So don't you understand, Charlie, if you go down this route of perfect sense, if you go down this route, you're going to lose millions of dollars. That is what he is referring to, right? Are you an op?
Are you an op, y'all? Following this woman's logic, I could say with veracity, my left pinky toe hurts. And I'm pretty sure that everybody in the best live chat on the internet, their left pinky toe hurts as well. And I just believe that. And I'm going to say that everybody's left pinky toe hurts. I like, how is she stringing this together? It's kind of embarrassing to watch because you're like, she thinks she's cooking, but the not only is the meat still frozen, it's still at the grocery store. She ain't even bought the food to thaw it out to even start cooking. The gas is off, the electricity is off, and the house is condemned. And you don't have a stove. I mean, there's nothing. Ma'am, you're not cooking. What are you doing? Jason.
Courtney Love, this is in January and in February of this year. I have all of this in writing. Effectively wrote explaining to me exactly how the operation functions and why. She explained to me that she was a toddler and she was experimented on at the Haight-Ashbury Clinic. For those of you, Haight-Ashbury, it's the intersection where they had this clinic and the hippies came, and this is when the CIA was just dosing them intentionally because they wanted to understand how to control minds. This was their focus, was how do we control mass experimentation? How do we brainwash people? And they were experimenting on hippies when they did this. And Courtney, who's writing a book on this, so I'm not exposing anything, told me that she was given LSD at this age. This is how she grew up. She grew up in this area. And she told me, I did not kill Kurt Cobain. That was a part of a psychological operation to make the masses look away from what the CIA was guilty of. And she then told me through a lot of messages that at the core of all of this is ownership. Goodbye to your idea of a meritocracy, that you can climb the ladder and become a billionaire yourself. Actually, the best way to understand it is that when companies or individuals get too big and become too powerful, they send their agents to control them, to make sure that they are able to control their messaging. And if they cannot control those individuals, they will stage some sort of a hostile takeover of that brand or of that company or of that particular person.
So you know where she's going. Y'all already know where she's going. She's already set the stage. Where's she going, Jason? What are you talking about? She's talking about when a company gets too big, they send in handlers to effectively invoke a hostile takeover. TPUSA was too big. They employed Rob McCoy, Mike McCoy, the janitor, that lady that makes the coffee down in the cafeteria, and they formed a hostile takeover to get Mikey and this person, but not the CEO, because she's not going to say that. And that's what they're going to do. I promise you, that's what she's about to say.
And there's a number of ways that can be accomplished.
How can it be done?
The psychosis. Oh my, she's having a mental breakdown. She needs a break. Yeah. She's really tired. Britney's been put on a Psych 5150 hold. Kanye, he said he was just reading a Bible, and Harley Pasternak, and we got into his backstory, and MK Ultra suddenly puts him in a hospital on a Psych 5150 hold, and somehow his wife, I guess, was cool with that at the time, being Kim Kardashian. Also, of course, Wacko Jacko. The media gets involved in this, blaring out to the public, don't look at what's happening behind the scenes because this person's just absolutely crazy. They're doing this to me right now. Obviously, you guys see this every single day. She's lost. She's gone off the deep end. Thank you. That's where I'd like to be. I don't want to be in the shallow end, my friends. Yeah, let's get deep on these topics. Another way that they accomplish this is via lawfare. They will bankrupt you, okay? This is why what's happening to Elijah Schaffer, this is relevant. This is one of their strategies. When they want you to shut up, they will effectively bankrupt you. Your consequence will be that you have no more money. And Michael Jackson, despite the fact that he was beating Sony, he was owning his own catalog and almost owned the Beatles catalog. And that's when they swept in and they took down Michael Jackson. He died broke, right? And the people who he was fighting owned his catalog. Actually, in the news today, and this is totally a God thing, I saw Paris Jackson was in the news today. She's lost in court and she's still fighting over her father's legacy. It's insane. The very people he hated, right, now own his catalog, and he was beating them. And they lied to us about the pedophilia. I did a whole episode on that. You should look it up. Candace Owens, Michael Jackson. It's a shocking, true story of what they did and how we all believed it. And then, of course, brings us the next way that they accomplish what they want, the media, a reputational assassination, right? The Me Too movement. That's what I was getting at. It was such an easy way to hostile take over big companies, because even if these people survive and prove they didn't do anything wrong to these women who may be paid to come up and say, he did this or he did that, you effectively have to sell your company because you just can't, you're so tarred and feathered reputationally that nobody wants to work with you anymore, right? Who buys these?
Is it possible? Is there room that Candace is trying to let you all know that she's going to lose that case against the Macrones? Is she trying to chum the water that some kind of shenanigans are going to happen? That's why she loses the case? Is that why she's doing this? You know, she's talking about Michael Jackson's daughter and this, that, and the other, and lawfare. Is it possible that that's why she's doing this, to kind of set the stage for her argument? And of course, making the claim that, you know, when they put you on the 5150 hold, this, that, and the other is happening. Is that possible what she's doing? And then my last question is, how is it that she's bringing up Kanye but not addressing the most recent event related to Kanye? Is she trying to say that that didn't happen? Is she trying to say that, well, Kanye's crazy? That's why, and because she's not going to address the rabbi. And she hasn't said that it's fake. Kanye hasn't said it's fake, so I'm assuming that it's real. Why is she not addressing that? I mean, she's literally danced all around Kanye and him kneeling before a rabbi saying he repents. Why are you not talking about that? And now she might still, but I do want to go back. Is it possible that she's trying to lay the groundwork that she knows she's going to get shellacked in this Macron case? By the way, they have not, there's an update. I'll have it for you in a moment, but she knows she's going to get shellacked in this case. And they are going to probably try to bankrupt her. Is she trying to chum the water that that's what is going to happen? And so anything that happens when she loses, it will be I lost because they cheated. I lost because they bankrupted me, right? Like, look at this face right here and tell me she's not saying they bankrupt me. They're bankrupting me. Is that what she's trying to set you up for? Just wondering.
Companies. It doesn't matter, like I said, at the end of the day, whether or not the allegations are true. It's how much damage they can do to you as a person. And of course, the last way that they can hostily take over your company is with an untimely death. Kurt Cobain, Prince, Michael Jackson, Charlie
Prince.
Kirk. And I should also mention Bob Breyer. Talk about a, I don't know, timely or untimely death. I remember My Chemical Romance. You guys remember My Chemical Romance?
No.
The drummer. Well, he had an overdose at the right time, right? Kind of a crazy story. The drummer posts this onto Twitter. This was October of last year. This is Bob Breyer. He writes, easy answer for that. Don't forget that Lou Taylor was my business manager for 18 years. We just separated in September because the Kardashians are the slimiest pile of garbage on the planet. They make a shitload of money, way more than I do, kind of like prostitutes. Anyways, I cannot be associated with them. Maybe Kendall, because she's kind of real and has an SF90 that I could drive. They actually have blood on their hands, and I know everything. Well, we're never going to know what he knows because he then died in a very mysterious circumstance. This is People Magazine. My Chemical Romance rocker Bob Breyer's cause of death ruled undetermined. Nitrous oxide found near his body. So he died from laughing gas. It's undetermined. And if you read that book, Chaos, the medical examiners are always in their pockets, which is really interesting when you have these. And again, if you read Hollywood Babylon, it gets into all of these true stories of just perfectly timed deaths, which we're never going to know the answer to what happened. Anyways, going back to what Courtney Love told me, and I'm looking back at these messages and I'm mind blown. She made it very clear, which to me, she intimated to me that this is a mafia, okay? This is a mafia, and they seek to own everything, every inch of land, every business, every organization, and you can trip onto their radar by making too much money. Like as soon as there's like layers of this, and first they're going to try to offer you a job and try to control you, blah, blah. And then if they can't control you, they will try to destroy you. But their goal is to just successfully infiltrate, right? Curiously, and I'm going to read this to you or else you won't believe me. She kept insisting to me through many messages that I needed to look into the quote unquote Mormon mafia, which she said sits above Hollywood and even sits above many Zionist Jews. Now, I want to be very clear because this can be offensive to people. Every faith has been infiltrated. Okay, we know that things are corruptible. This is not an attack on and saying every person in the Mormon church is involved, every person in the Catholic, no, but we know that at the top, things get corrupted. It's just a fact. And if you are actually a person that cares about your soul and you want to get into heaven, your job is not to defend corruption, whether it's happening in your church, in your backyard, in your own home. Your job is to try to root it out. And I'm sharing this text message because it's crazy that at the time that she sent it, I was like, I don't know any of this. I'm not.
I got to stop for a second. Y'all, I really feel like I'm listening to, I done walked downtown Atlanta, down by the bus station. If y'all been to Atlanta, down in 5 Points, and down by the bus station, and there's those people down there yelling at pigeons and talking to clouds. And I really feel like I've sat down and found myself live streaming, watching one of these people. What in the heck is she talking about? A Mormon mafia. So because she's already told you that she will share information without vetting it, am I to believe that all of this information is correct without knowing whether or not it's correct? Is this a trust me, bro? Do I have trust me, bro, on my bingo board? This is crazy work, y'all. Oh, by the way, because she showed somebody's tweet, I'm gonna go ahead and take Twitter beef on my bingo board. If you have that, you can have it. All right, let's go back. Come on, Jason. This is crazy.
She mentioned Lou Taylor, and I'm like, what are you talking about? So I'm going to read this to you. Okay. I just took a screenshot earlier today. She says, you're missing the critical parts, the bright, white, and delightsome, the original Nephites. So who is it that doesn't drink, doesn't gamble, but they run Vegas, and a lot of the Jews that are in Hollywood? Lou Taylor for Kim Kardashian and Diddy, Jay-Z, Beyonce, and she also owns the home church home to get Bieber from Hillsong. I looked that up. That actually is accurate. It looks like she owns or sat on the board of Church Home. I know you Bieber people that were doing the videos about that know a lot. That seemed to be accurate. It made no sense to me at the time because I'm not hip. I don't follow a lot of the Hollywood stuff.
Really?
And she says Christian non-denominational, but she's LDS, born and raised LDS. Bill Gates' grandfather, also LDS, polygamist, not hard to dig any of this stuff up at all. The corrupt Fed who called off the 2006 investigations into CNB Bank for Mike Hurt's estate and Tupac. And then this is a question mark. Todd Nielsen. That firm is still massive, but he had to then go.
What are you reading?
Be one of the 12 apostles to the new prophet in Salt Lake, and with Ensign and NGO. And she goes on, and she starts speaking about this. And when I say I received, I just had no idea what she was speaking about.
I feel like Candace gave her phone number to a crackhead down at the Greyhound station that asked her to buy her a 5-piece lemon pepper, hold the flats, extra wet. And she just gave them their phone number and they started texting her. What are you reading? And why? Yo, this woman, she really thinks she's cooking, y'all. Oh, this is so embarrassing. Because they're gonna roast her on Twitter for this. I mean, how you done gave your doggone phone number to some crackhead, and that crackhead is texting you back on a flip phone, just saying whatever. And she's reading it out loud. That's the thing that's the amazing part. She's reading this to us. We're not, hijacking her phone or breaking the code and snooping around. She's literally reading this to us, and it sounds like crazy. It sounds like a fever dream. Dang, man. What in the world? Oh my gosh. I actually think that probably talking to a crackhead might actually be more coherent. Courtney Love can text me. I bet you that conversation would probably be more coherent than her reading what Courtney Love said. This is craziness. And she thinks she's this is crazy. Okay.
I didn't have time to look into any of this and did not see relevance because at that time I was very much investigating the Brigitte Macron thing and was arriving very quickly at this weird backstory of MK Ultra and the Haight Asbury Clinic when it seems like a button was pressed in America and big psychological operations started to take place. And now, of course, we learn that this church that Lou Taylor's husband is a pastor at has this background that involves the CIA. They even explicitly tell the true story about all these hippies. Well, the hippie movement was not organic. It was not real. It was a psychological operation. That is a fact, okay? That is not a crazy musing. It is simply a fact.
Wait. How did her husband become associated with MK? I might have missed it. I'm sorry. If I missed it, I apologize. How did Lou Taylor's husband become associated with MK Ultra and the psych? Because clearly everybody's involved in it. I'm involved in it. My Black Yeti cup is involved in it. Shout out to my new black hat that came in today. It's involved in it. Everything is involved in it. My gosh. Y'all, if you are a Candy, I hope that you've sent me some kind of, yes, I need her decoder ring. That's what they need. We need a decoder ring to figure out what in the Lord's name are you talking about? I mean, you're making my left pinky toe hurt, Candace. And I told you, everybody in the best live chat, this is crazy. This is madness. I feel bad now. I'm starting to feel bad laughing at this. I feel like I'm not supposed to laugh. Yeah, my Yeti is in on the conspiracy. The conspiracy is that Jason needs water. He needs nourishment. And the water in the cup is giving me that. And it's a conspiracy between the water and the ice and the lid on the Yeti. Don't you dare tell me that doesn't make sense. Because good gracious alive, what this woman is saying. Y'all, stop. Just go, Jason.
This really became a way to ultimately attack the Christian faith, to divide the Christian faith. The story goes, these hippies decided to, give a fresh update to the Christian church. But then it turns out that a lot of these people that are heading these churches have military ties, high up familial military ties. And I find all of this to be fascinating. And it has only made me focus more on this faith angle of TPUSA, because I am telling you that when that individual, it was at his memorial, I hadn't even processed it because I was so in the grief stage. When they said that, something in me woke up where they said it was just so strange that everything was about faith. But like Turning Point USA was originally free markets and capitalism. And I remember you and Charlie running around and I went, yeah, that shifted pretty quickly. And this is where we need to look. And the stuff that I'm learning about Rob McCoy and the fact that people that are supposed to be biblical are telling us not to do that. And it's completely crazy. And Rob McCoy's up here trying to, I guess you could say, like, launder the reputation of somebody who spent years in prison for abusing children. What is happening here? Something is not right. And this is only the beginning. I'm going to put this out there because I think a lot of people now need to start paying attention to the Calvary Chapel in whatever regard you're researching, whether it's Justin Bieber, as I just mentioned, whether you're looking into the Courtney Love thing, or whether you are focused on the Britney Spears thing. You need to look here. We need to understand what is happening inside of these churches. And I am definitively not letting go, obviously, of this TPUSA faith infiltration, which is what it looks like to me. We're going to take a brief break and we're going to come back and speak about the Notorious Bush that we left off on a couple of days ago. All right,
Notorious
you guys,
Bush
I've been speaking
is
to you a lot about
crazy.
Riverbend Ranch because I absolutely...
The Notorious Bush is crazy work. There's a lot of bad jokes that can come from that. That's some nasty work. Y'all, you know what? Shout out to the best live chat on the internet. Real quick. Thank y'all so much, man. Thank y'all so much for the very kind supers. She will get her people killed wearing her merch overseas. That seal on her shirt will have the foreign government looking at them and others to delete them. I don't even understand it, man. Thank you so much, Phantom. I don't even understand. Thank you so much, man. This is I'm really actually amazed. I'm actually kind of in awe. Like, this is crazy what we're watching. Thank you for the $5 super. He came back around with the 2 and says this MK Ultra is no longer a thing outside of LSD. She gonna let her tell the story. Again, my Yeti is in on the conspiracy. My Yeti is in on the take, man. Shout out. Maria says this with the $2. Why does YouTube allow her to continue this junk? That's a very good question. That's what I'm talking about. Like, if I said some of the stuff that Candace says, my channel would probably not be here anymore. I had my channel removed back in 2022 over something that I didn't even do. She does far worse in 4K. We're watching this in 4K. She's still here. Like, but everybody else is the op. Okay, I got you. Cap Jacks with the 5 says this. Someone has MK Ultra'd Candy when she wasn't looking. What the heck? I don't know. This is crazy. I'm really amazed. Like, y'all, this is some high level craziness here. Ruben comes in with the 10. Thank you so much, brother. She got the audience off Charlie Kirk's death to spread what it's really about, the spread of actual message of hate for Israel. I see what you did there, Ruben. I see what you did there. Yeah. Again, so remember, she's talking about the hippie movement was trying to divide the church, right? But there was a movement at the end, at Charlie Kirk's deletion, that I'm like, ma'am, like, why are you not talking about that? Why are you not talking about the good that was coming from Charlie Kirk's death? And using that and say, oh, great things are happening and people are considering their souls and going back to church and wanting to make amends and really considering some deep things. Nope, we got to start talking about bees and Ninja Turtles. Okay, that makes sense. Shout out for real. And of course, Israel. Shout out Vanessa with the $2 says this. Calvary Church also responsible for Whitney Houston and Michael Jackson. Well, Michael Jackson caught the strays. I'm expecting Whitney to come in here too. Matter of fact, hold on, I got something for you. I got something for you about that, Whitney. I got something for you about Whitney. Here we go, right here.
I have nothing.
That's what she got. She got nothing. She has nothing. Shout out. Thank you so much. Call me, Commander, with the $5. Thank you so very much. No question, no comment, just loving the game. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. I appreciate you. Maggie says this with a $5 euro. Let's play Join the Dots. Ready? Dots are cat, dog, burning house. Bet you my story's different from yours. Hey, yo, that would be funny to take our bingo board and make a story out of it. Like, how are you accepting emails from your generic tip line and running with the things that you get without vetting it? Nothing could go wrong with that. My gosh. Shout out. Thank you so much. Roche with the $2. I appreciate it. And again, with another, she said, what are these people magazine and the craziness? I don't understand. Like, the person literally is just going down hot button topics, lumping them all together. I did a quick research and Lou Taylor is involved with a lot of people. You can make Lou Taylor the hub of it all and just grab 9 people and make a story. It really isn't that hard. Oh, and by the way, can somebody tell me when TPUSA Faith started? It seems interesting that Candace seems completely oblivious to TPUSA, as if TPUSA Faith just popped up last Tuesday. Tell me when it did in the chat. Thank you so much. A church with scandals? Can you say the Roman Catholic? Thank you, Phantom, for the $2 super, and I agree. Like, she doesn't talk anything about her own scandals in her own faith system. That's crazy work. Stephanie says this, thank you with the $10. Is it just me, or is she seemingly being more careful about saying that she doesn't know for sure and that she doesn't want to expose people. Maybe she's being sued. When did ethics become part of her show? I don't know, and I don't think that's the case. I know what you're saying. I agree with how you're saying it. I don't think she cares. She literally just said, I don't know, and just throws people out there. Now, she is talking about a lot of, this whole segment was a lot of celebrities who are like public figures. So maybe you can say like, hey, nobody's going to sue you for saying something about Britney Spears or about Prince or Michael Jackson, right? But now she's about to shift gears and get into some not public figures. And that's where I think we'll see where the word choices change for there. Thank you, Phantom, again with the 10. CIA has nothing to do with this. They did not look at domestic issues. I need to see the story straight from the CIA and risk their lives every day overseas and get this type of stuff on them. This is some crazy work, man. Shout out. Thank you very much, friend. And we are almost down to the end. Thank you so, man. I appreciate you, Stephanie. 5 says this, Kabbalah is a form of Jewish mysticism. Is it? Oh no, did I say it wrong? I've been Catholic all my life, and for what it's worth, we don't claim candy. Look, don't worry about it. I've been black all my life. We don't claim candy either. Okay, I apologize then if I said that wrong. So please take that from me. I will put myself in 0-second timeout, and I'm back. All right, let's keep it going. Thank you, Captain Jack with the 5 says, I think candy has put all of us on our very own psychological op. I mean, you can't tell me that this is not comical what we're watching. Terry says this with the 5, Calvary is common name in churches. Is she lumping them all together so any church with the name Calvary is put on blast? I do think that there is a network of Calvary churches. However, there are non-affiliated churches that use the term Calvary. So I agree with you that she's probably doing a lot of Mickey Flinning right there just because a church, again, like you haven't proven to me that the Calvary in Long Beach is related to the Calvary in Brentwood, Tennessee. I don't know if that's really there. So shout out for that. Thank you for that comment. TR's Daughters of the King, thank you for the $2 super. I appreciate you. Thank you for supporting what we're doing over here. Cap Jacks with the 10. Crackhead Candy will never find a way out of this rabbit hole. She is busy chasing the Mad Hatter. Like, if you can envision somebody falling into a cave and getting lost and just running around, that's what I feel like. She's in an underground cave and she's stuck. Tracy, again, thank you so much for that very kind $5 super for sure. Thank you for that. And Jay Lynn says this with 2. She doesn't want people in church. See? Like why are you doing that? Oh, thank you so much, Alexis, right here with the 5. Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, Forrest Gump, the Illuminati, Scientology. What's next? We gotta get some airplanes. I'm sorry, I believe we gotta get airplanes. Airplanes got to get into the chat. Thank you so much, and then sweet and sassy. I love it with the $5. Thank you so much, y'all. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for rocking with me, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Let's get back to it, and we are back. Let's go. It's muted.
Happy, and we are seeing that play out right now. There's this push to seed an entire generation with this idea that they shouldn't want to own anything. They shouldn't aspire to ownership. They should just be renting. I even had a conversation with Milo Yiannopoulos, and we spoke about how that's kind of the point of making everything look really ugly and tiny, and the walls are thin. Nothing is meant to feel like it's been here for a long time. Nothing is meant to be ancestral. That's been a topic that's been in the news recently. And I go back to something that was very strange when people were telling me what happened in the Hamptons before Charlie died. But Bill Ackman gave a presentation, don't forget, and told these younger people that they shouldn't aspire to own homes. They should just want to rent. There's no point in wanting to own property. Nothing should send to you a louder alarm that you should aspire to own property. You have every right to live where your grandparents lived, where your mother lived. Ancestry is very important, and I feel that they are trying to wipe that. And we are somehow at a very critical point. And I don't know much. I've never looked into the conspiracies about cloud seeding and these the burning of the Malibu homes. I actually think Spencer Pratt did some really fantastic work. Like Spencer.
Dang, we just said planes are going to have to enter into it, and she just said it. Y'all, I am not a prophet. I don't know, man. I don't even gamble, but I might need to go play the lottery tonight. Wow, she just said, I don't know. So now I have bingo 3 ways. Yo, did she just say that? Wow. Y'all, hold on. I got to show you. I'm just going to. Okay. She said basically, I feel. I'm going to take that. You can have it. She's going on hunches. It's the whole thing. The whole thing is a bunch of hunches. Does anybody need genericize? Genericize? It's a word we made up a couple weeks ago. Basically, it just means generalization. Does anybody need that on their bingo board? Yo, I cannot believe this. Oh, random text. She was reading a random text from that crackhead. Man, come on. Does anybody need genericize? Because I'm just going to give it to you. If you need it, let me know. You need feelings and vibes? You know what? You know what? I'm pretty sure. I feel, you know what? I feel like the word genericize means vibes. There you go. There you go. Merry Christmas. This is craziness, y'all. I feel like this is madness on a whole nother level. Jason, get done. Stop this, man. Stop it.
Spencer Pratt from The Hills did some fantastic work showing that this was actually a government conspiracy. That feels right to me. Like natural disasters and then buying our stuff up dirt cheap. And when I'm looking at this picture, this is all about ownership. It's like it does feel like they want to control and to own everything. Don't ignore that. Don't turn away from that. Don't think people are telling you wacky conspiracies. Our government is evil, okay? Terrible people who do terrible things are protected by our government, which means that we are being ruled by criminals who protect each other. And I just felt on my heart that I wanted to say that. You should aspire towards ownership. You are not born to be an effective slave. And that's what it feels like. It feels like soft selling us slavery, and we're reaching this critical juncture. Anyway.
Wow. Now, I agree. I do agree that there's a push to make things unattractive so you don't want to own things. I actually agree. I do believe that. I'm not 100% certain that I believe the diagnosis is correct. The solution or prescription, I'm not sold on. Like, that's some wild stuff, man. All right, then, let's go.
Okay, jumping back into the Charlie Kirk story. First and foremost, I actually want to play a longer
Wait, hold on, wait. Okay, did you notice that she just said Bill Ackman did a lecture and said that don't buy a house and don't want to own anything, but never showed you it? She did it again. She just said something. Trust me, bro. Just trust me. You need random country? I mean, well, technically her husband is from Europe and she doesn't want to mention it. So technically, I mean, I'm going to give you that. Because I want blackout bingo again. I've had blackout bingo all this week, and I'm greedy to end the week with a 5th blackout bingo. So I'm giving it out free of charge. Just make sure you hit the like button. She just said Bill Ackman told young people, don't buy houses. Be okay with renting, and then never showed the evidence of it. That's crazy work.
Speaking and replaying that clip, there's something about it now that almost sounds prophetic of him discussing what you would want to do and what allies you want to have when bullets are flying. Take a listen.
People have to understand that we live in a different world now, but don't think because you follow me or that you follow Charlie that this has by any means been easy. There have been moments where I've sat him down and he thought that his whole life was over and was like, they're just trying to kill me and destroy me. And I'm like, get your head out of the sand. Like, we fight, we go on. And there have been moments that I've called you and said, like, this is it. It's over. Like, I can't do this anymore. And he's been like, you get your ass up out of bed and you keep going. And it's so, so important for you guys to understand that. The next day, it always does get better, guys. It gets better.
Here's the other thing is, giving up should never be an option. And also surround yourself with people like Candace that whatever you're doing that can relate, and that when you say something that they're going to tell you the truth and they're going to be honest, but they'll also have your back. And I understand this might sound cliche, but it's so hard to find that.
Right.
It's so hard to find that kind of loyalty that the kind of the old expression is, when you're in a foxhole, You want someone who is not going to tell you that there's no bullets being fired. You want just to say where the bullets are coming from.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's
Right?
exactly
You
right.
know?
Yeah.
You don't want someone in the foxhole with you being like, well, want to get a hot dog,
Right,
like
yeah.
maybe a burger, a smoothie. You want to say, no. There's a machine gun nest over
Right.
there. There's mortar shells coming from there.
Right.
Well, here's what we're going to do
Here's
to be
the
able to
plan
do
of
that.
action to get out of this.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's the type of friend that you want. And you definitely don't want one that's going to run for the hills behind
Right.
you.
Yeah.
And
We've
you're
had
alone.
those. We've had those.
Yes.
We definitely know who our allies are.
Okay, the irony of this conversation is pretty telling. Candace is working at PragerU. Y'all know where she used to work before she came to PragerU, right? It's funny that she's sitting there with the man that fired her or let her go. Or remember, she cast a story like she was a foundational member of starting TPUSA when in fact she wasn't. So I do think it's kind of ironic that she chose this clip rather than one when she was working with Charlie or anything else, because this is easily 7 years ago. And again, Candace doesn't have any evidence that they have any conversation in the last 2 years. Nothing. And don't tell me about her being on stage at TPUSA in 24. Was Charlie there? Can you show me that? I want to see that. Because there's no evidence to that. No evidence that they talk. She tells a story like they talk every day, like they boyfriend, girlfriend. Where's the evidence? Where's the text messages? Show us the proof of that. Let's go. It doesn't exist, in my opinion.
First and foremost, I watched this and it made me feel great to hear that from him. Like, we got to keep fighting and you got this. The second thing, though, is it infuriated me because it is just, talk about a psychological operation. They moved in to try to rewrite history and convince masses that Charlie Kirk and I weren't friends. I will never get over that. I will actually never get over how absolutely insane and deranged the media is. They tried to invert reality, actually.
7 years ago. So we're in 2025. This is 2018-ish, right? So much has changed since 2018. I think it's fair to say that that's a whole nother movie. 2018 is a different world, a different galaxy even. And the fact that she can't show you evidence that they were friends today. I was friends with people in 2018 that I'm not friends with today. For good or for bad, for just grew on, just moved on. And some people I thought were like ride or dies. So why is it that you can't show us evidence to that fact? The reason the media says it is because you haven't shown them anything. There's no evidence to it. I can show you. I mean, we can sit around here and talk for days about what happened when you were in high school. What's that got to do with today, though? Who cares what you did in high school? You might have did it in college or graduate school. If 7 years ago, that's a long time. I mean, we had COVID. Let's just stop the press right there. We had COVID. That's it. That changed everything. Pre and post COVID, the world was different.
People that weren't his friends were suddenly pretending that they were his friends and his supporters. I just will never forgive them for that. That is insane. What we're saying there is important. Loyalty is hard. And I was amazed watching that ending, the way he describes a person behind him walking away, almost wild, considering Mikey McCoy, the amazing Mikey McCoy, not so amazing Mikey McCoy. And then he says this, he points over to the left there. And I'm now thinking, well, if he was right about what was happening behind him, what if there was something going on the left? Now that I'm thinking about what I brought up to you, which was that bush. I have in the back of my mind been wondering about this bush. I have questions about that bush that they said Butch was talking to. Again, I want to be clear. We see him near the bush by himself. We have no evidence to show that he was actually talking to the bush. These are eyewitness accounts.
Then why are you saying it?
And
you started the conversation to say the man was talking to a bush because she made some crass joke about 9/11 and George W. Bush and this man in the bush. Like, why would you even say it if you're not trying to sullen the poison the well that the man was talking to the bush? Like that just doesn't work. You were trying to say that the man was crazy and he was talking to a tree. That's what you're trying to do. He was like the Lorax. That's what you were trying to do. So This is untenable, man. This is some crazy, nasty work. All right, let's go. This is a great question. Why were you not working with Charlie? Candace? I think that should be uncovered. Why is it that your show was on PragerU and not over on TPUSA or something like that? Why were you at PragerU? That's a good question. Just want to know.
I just feel that
my
maybe
gosh.
something may have been going on into that in that bush, right? Now, there is an individual that I have had questions about, and I have tried to discern through private means who this individual is, and I have had no luck. So I'm going to ask the public for help because he's had my attention for a while. Foremost, because throughout the event, I noticed that he was halfway standing in the bush. Obviously, I've looked at so much content, different angles, so many videos, and he's kind of partially in the bush. And I don't feel that it's necessary for him to be partially in the bush. It was not that crowded of an event. There was definitely space. The second thing that's compelling is that he's wearing a maroon shirt. And when Charlie goes down, he stood out to me because everyone ducks, but he just sort of keeps standing and seems to go inward into the bush and then out of the bush. And then I saw him from behind and he's very calm. He never ducks and then he sort of calmly walks away. Want to be clear, does not mean he's guilty of anything. But I'd like to speak to him because he might have some more insight as to what was going on in that bush. So first, regarding that bush, many of you guys emailed us and pointed to the fact that when the shooting happens, there's suddenly people on the side that are directing you, saying, go, 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 almost like they're actually maybe kind of protecting the bush. That might not be the circumstance, but we're going to show that clip anyway of a guy that does actually, as we looked, seem to be directing traffic away from the bush. Take a look at this.
I don't know who's been shot.
Let's see, right there on the side. You got people on the side there, standing, pointing away. Okay. Yeah, and there's someone in there like texting in a blue shirt. Now, that could be because there's a shooting and that's a...
Real quick, if you need sources, if you need my sources, y'all can have it on your bingo board. I honestly, how in the world is this a thing? Like, just let it go, Jason. This is incredible, y'all. Please tell me, can somebody please, even if, don't lie to your boy. Don't lie to me. But is it possible that we're being punked? Is it possible that we're being made a fool of? What in the world? She's dreaming about the bush. She's talking about a bush in the midst of people scrambling for what they think is their lives. She's literally talking about a bush. So we done went from Ninja Turtles to underground communist bee farms to now the secret of NIM. Shout out to anybody who remembers the secret of NIM. If you remember the secret of NIM, your childhood was amazing and you're pretty amazing. And if you have the secret of NIM or you know about the secret of NIM, you can have on your bingo board, you can have my sources and hopefully you have blackout. Somebody remembers it. That was a great book. That was a great book. This is craziness, y'all. This is madness. Okay, I'm done. Okay.
Safe spot to be in and somebody can't see you. Maybe that's why you're doing that. Doesn't mean anything, but I'm just pointing that out because we have to gather evidence that we're never going to get from the feds. The second thing that I want to show you is what I just described, which is the clip of the person that I'm looking for who doesn't duck and calmly walks away. This is that individual. This is a front angle. You see that circle right there. We keep playing that. I've watched from other angles. Never goes down. Walks out of the bush. And I know that the police were looking for someone in a maroon shirt immediately after because somebody shared text messages with me that I did not publicize because I didn't want to. I just felt that it would go back to that source. Now, this individual.
Where did this woman get her journalistic? The man is moving. Okay, just leave it on, Jason. Y'all, this is embarrassing.
individual I was able to discern was in a photo with somebody else who's caught my attention. Of course, the media began playing. They had all of these clips of what happened. And there was one individual who was Indian who they got a lot of the footage from that day from. And what's interesting about this guy, Samir, is very public. He's been covering everything. Is he was not a Charlie Kirk fan. He somehow has a lot of footage and somehow immediately gave this footage to the media. I reached out to him privately and I asked to have a conversation, asked to send his number, despite speaking with the media for weeks, giving them all of this footage. And despite oddly being allowed to interview Astrid Tumenez, I think a lot of people have done videos on Astrid Tumenez, the strange background story of Astrid Tumenez, the president of UVU. He didn't want to send me his number. I wanted to ask him basic questions. One of the questions I wanted to ask him was, hey, you are in a photo with this person in the maroon shirt from that day. He posted a photo with him and the guy in the maroon shirt.
And how do you know that's him? Because I'm sorry. She is putting children in, but we watched it already. Why am I even surprised? We just watched the video about her and the doxing. Why am I even surprised? Jason, why are you even pretending like you're surprised? Man.
He makes it clear that they both went to BYU. His friend, I would like to know who Samir's friend is on the left. That's who I'm looking for. You might recognize this individual. If you do, and again, we are not.
Hold on. This is spring 2022. Did the boy still wear the same outfit? How do you know that's him? Oh my gosh. Like, wait, so he wore the same outfit in spring. He wore that 3 years later at the Charlie Kirk assassination at OVU or UVU. Does she listen to herself? Yo, that is some grade A foolishness. Wow.
Of anything, but he might know if there was some activity in that bush. Please email more tips at CandaceOwens.com. More tips at CandaceOwens.com. Okay. Moving on from the person in the maroon shirt, but sticking on to this topic of the bush, people also sent me a ton of information about Butch Hibbs, Jack Hibbs' brother, who was here, and he maybe might have been speaking to that bush. I don't know.
Speaking to the bush is
the
crazy.
Only person, by the way, who was in that bush before the event. Here's another photo that was sent to us of a guy. I don't know. Maybe he's comfortable in his bush. Who knows? Another guy in a maroon shirt. I never knew so many.
So clearly maroon shirts are not, there's not one maroon shirt. Y'all flood the chat with, y'all let the chat know we appreciate the bushes. We need greenery in the world. This is crazy work. I don't know why it looks like he's standing. I hate to say it. It does look like he's standing in the bush. Does that mean that he is in fact standing in the bush? No. Does it look like it? Yes. How in the Lord's name are you making this an issue though? That's the thing I don't get. How is this an issue? The man is standing in the bush. Okay. So what? Like, what does that got to do with anything?
Men loved maroon shirts. I never even knew that. But we have another guy in there. Again, he literally might just be sending a private text. I don't know, but people sent us that, and that's interesting. And on the topic of Butch Hibbs, we got a flurry of videos of him after this shooting takes place. He's kind of just like crawling the area. He's up and around where the shooting happened. With what clearance, I don't know. You would think that they had secured the area and nobody would be allowed to go in. They certainly seem to have crime scene tape, but some people were allowed in. He was. And beyond that, he is just acting what I would say is strange, generally being shady. And in this one clip,
baby, you would know that people are acting strange. You would know. You would know, Candy. Candace, you would know that people are acting strange.
there's a guy who's talking to the media about what he heard and what he saw, and Butch is kind of just lingering in the background, almost as if he wants to know what that person is telling the media. I'm going to play that clip for you. You're going to see Butch in the background as another individual is being interviewed about what he heard and saw.
I don't know. It sounded like a higher caliber. It sounded like a higher caliber, like a 9mm. It didn't sound like a 45 or anything, but I don't know. It didn't sound that deep to me. It almost sounded like a cherry bomb.
Unbelievable.
It was a gunshot.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. I'm in shock.
I am too. I can't
But what
believe
about-
it happened in Utah of all places?
What about the guy in the red lumberjack shirt? I mean, there's a lot of people running around there with red hats on. You know, hey, how about we get on them? This is weird. Now, why is he standing there? I have no idea. Does it look shady? Does it look weird? You know what? I don't know why that guy's standing there. Am I to assume that he was involved in it? But again, because he's Jack Hibbs' brother, and she is going to smear Jack Hibbs, in my opinion, that's the only reason they're here. What does this got to do with anything?
Larry has so much support, but obviously the opposition was here. And now we're looking at a murder scene, possibly. It's obviously a crime scene. But I don't think that Charlie can survive this unless the EMTs were close, and it was pretty, I mean, rated R level kind of stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I
No
appreciate
problem.
your testimony.
You
there,
bet.
sir. Travel safe.
Thank you, you too.
Now, he may have just been hanging out, trying to get a ride, calling an Uber, that caught the video. We really just don't know. But I got to follow this faith feeling I have, this quote unquote faith feeling I have. And
Faith
that's what I'm going to do.
feeling?
That is what I'm going to do. I'm going to follow my every instinct in this until we figure out what happened on 9/10 and beyond that, right? This feels to me like so much is being revealed right now, and the linchpin of this is the Charlie Kirk assassination, and we are really understanding the way that our world works. So if you have any more information about Butch, some people were telling me that he was involved, and I have not been able to confirm this information with the military. I know his father was, but it's hard because they have the same name. And so if you have more information pertaining to that, please email moretips@CandaceOwens.com. All right, you guys are going to take another brief break before I get into some of your comments. All right, you've heard me speak a lot about Nimi skincare.
I think this is very interesting. And, you know, shout out to the best and most electrifying live chat on the planet. Thank y'all so much to 850 of y'all that have tapped in. I appreciate y'all. Candace is just making things up at this point. Somebody said like her sources are drying up and she's just reaching. Yeah, this is just pure, I'm just reaching. I'm just making up something. And I think also, I do not approve of that. I do not approve of that, Suzanne. I do not approve of that. I do not approve of that at all. No, I do not approve of it. That being said, I watch a lot of Candy. I have to admit, I watch a lot of it for you all. This episode right here, I've never heard her farming for tips more. This is the first time she actually asked for tips 4 different times in this video so far. And I know she's going to throw one at the end. So there's probably going to be 5, if not more. I don't think I've ever heard her say that before. That's a lot of farming for tips. And I've never heard her do it before. And if you go back and listen to the beginning, that opening salvo, that first 30 minutes was full of pure nothing. It was hot, stir-fried air. Nothing. Big old nothing burger. And I do think she's come to the point where she has nothing. Because there was nothing to listen to. There's nothing to talk about. But that didn't stop her, of course. But if you understand my point. So I'm interested to see how many more times she's going to farm for tips. Because I've never heard her beg for tips that much. And it just seems odd that she did that so much. So let's go ahead. We got to finish this thing up, y'all. Because people sent me a video, and we might have to tap that video tomorrow. Where are we, Jason? Oh, by the way, if you need a bingo, let's see. She has not mentioned Allie. And I don't want Allie to be alone. I want Allie to be a part of this bingo game with us. So I'm going to go ahead and go with Allie. So I have blackout bingo now. kudos. I got bingo 25 ways, and that's the way I like to win it. I like it. What is that? What is that effectively? 5, 10, and then you got the diagonal, so basically 12 different ways. Shout out, man. Shout out. Put a bush in the chat if you, too, got bingo. This woman is insufferable. All right, let's listen to these text messages. These messages she got. Let's go. It's muted.
I teased 2 things for you, actually, that did not happen today. The first was not my fault at all. The person that was supposed to come on the show, who has been basically effectively working on the finances for months, asked me to just wait 1 more week because he got swept up into something. So that was a cancellation. The second thing is the Egyptian plane. The thing about the Egyptian plane is so explosive. Yes. Like I said to you, I had to try to get this to the right people in government, and those individuals asked me to wait until this weekend. The reason why they wanted me to wait is because this is the first time that we have the advantage. I don't know what to say other than it's positively explosive. That's all I can say to you. And presenting this to the public, I don't know what to, there's not.
Yo, I got some stuff to tell you. It's explosive. It's explosive. It is amazing. The once this gets out in the public, it's going to just change the world. It is. Trust me, bro. Poor woman.
To describe what is going to be the result of revealing that sort of information. And in many ways, we're still trying to understand it ourselves. So I want to say Monday, but because I'm not fully in control of that information, I would say next week, tentatively next week. Okay. Top comment from yesterday's episode is funny how Pastor McCoy could so easily believe, as he did with that guy who sexually abused a minor, could so easily believe that the police, the feds, the courts, the lawyers, and even the little girls were all involved in a conspiracy cover-up against a convicted predator. But questioning the assassination of his dearest friend is unchristian and crazy. That's what I said. Like, if you want to really see the psychological operation of Christian Zionists all saying the same thing, many of them are taking money. Obviously, there's a lot of money on the line. Turning Point just raised so much money themselves, and
the amount of money you make
to recognize these sorts of tactics, like just the hypocrisy, the astounding hypocrisy, where they will just be totally mum on the death of Palestinians and be like, how dare Candace even ask another question and not accept the narrative? The feds have always been honest with us about everything. Something stinks. You are so right.
But Candace, okay, fine then, Candace. You're not speaking about the death of Christians in Nigeria or Sudan or Darfur or anywhere else. You're not even speaking about the death of black people in Memphis, Tennessee, and you live in Tennessee. How about that? This woman is, and we're not talking, and I think it's adorable that she can throw these unsubstantiated claims that there's lots of money out there. Lots of money out there. When she's literally said she'll take money from Qatar. We've actually shown that she made said amount of money that she said she would take from Qatar. So what are we doing? This woman is insufferable. Let's go.
Reminding you guys that we have new merch on the website, plus our Black Friday sale. You can use code
We're going to pass on that.
BLACK20 and you'll get 20% store.
We'll pass on that. We're not going to support the shenanigans. We're going to let the shenanigans shenan. We'll be shenanigan free over here. She's doing a shout out for her merch, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to support
More of these comments. Access gaming rights. Did you see that there are 7 Calvary Chapel churches near Huntington Beach, California? That is the epicenter of the Family International movement, aka the Children of God. Their practices are very familiar. Also, the Brigitte jump scares keep sending me. We have no idea what you're talking about with the Brigitte jump scares. I kid, of course. Yes, I'm sorry. We just try to get up-to-date photos, that's all. Ginny's writes, hi, Candace, fellow Latin Mass Catholic here. Which saint's relic do you have behind you? There is a special reason you have this saint. Yeah, I spoke about this on another show. It was gifted to me by a priest while I was out in Wyoming, and it is from St. Michael's Holy Cave in Italy. So, yes, I was very grateful to have that, and that is a very powerful prayer of protection. Rianne writes, hi, this is Rianne from San Antonio, Texas. Thank you, Candace, for never giving up on the truth. You are Charlie's David. May God bless you and keep you and your family safe. I love you, sweet girl. Christ is King. Go Max. Go Max, indeed. We are going Max. Truth Accountability writes, Candace, remember the devil is striking hard because God placed something powerful within you. Thieves don't break into an empty house. I totally agree with that sentiment that thieves do not break into an empty house. They are overreacting to any questions. They're lying about what I'm saying. They're taking me out of context intentionally and pretending that we're doing all of this on the basis of a dream and that we never had any evidence. And
But where
that
is the
feels to
evidence?
me like they are fearful, and they should be fearful. Whatever they
But
are.
where is the evidence, Candace? You said Charlie came to you in a dream and shared that he had been betrayed. You haven't shown us evidence to that fact. You've given us a ton of conjecture, a ton of, threadbare theories tied together with red string. But where's your actual hard evidence? That's what we want. And you're in control of the evidence.
Are hiding, I'm going to find. Christopher Jolly writes, Mormons are Christians. Many LDS members like me love
They're
your
not.
work. Any crooks, please bust them. We want truth. Wheat grows together until the last day. The Book of Mormon, the reality. Oh, acknowledges. Sorry, I am not. If you ever make a word shorter like I'm not going to know what acknowledges. I'm old. The reality and the danger of organized evil. Yes, of course. And I want to be
What
very
are you talking
clear
about?
that a lot of the stuff that I have been able to find out in this investigation has been because of Mormons that have been willing to go on the ground to ask questions, to get me information, to get me phone
Mormons?
numbers. Would not have been possible without these young Mormon students. So I'm incredibly grateful. And I always just say that and remind people, because sometimes when you're speaking about something, it can feel like a personal attack. And the reality is the devil loves to go in places where he can be the most deceptive. And what better place to go, right? People are showing up to Calvary Chapel because they love Jesus and they want to pray. And suddenly they're starting to realize they're getting a political message. Something is not right with Calvary Chapel. I stand by that. We lost someone, sent us an email and said, because I discussed Calvary Chapel's abuse history, that they would no longer support us. Like, I've always been very clear on the topic of abusing kids. Bye. Like, forever, I will never shut up on these topics. If something happens and it's relevant, I will always cover it on this show. Most of all, when I start to recognize that something happened at Turning Point USA and the faith movement seems to be at the center of it. It's very bizarre. The lies, actually, when you start to go through the list of Turning Point USA lies, so many of them surround the topic of faith, which is very strange. Like, he wasn't allowed to be Catholic. He wasn't allowed to be interested in Catholicism. How weird. Why? Why is
But my goal right here is not to start a fight with Catholics in the chat, because I'm getting ready to go. But, ma'am, you're making a claim, and you're telling us that we have to prove your claim is false without you showing any evidence that the claim is actually true. You cannot have one witness. You need to have at least 2 or 3. Where's your evidence to what you're saying, Candace? That's the point that people are asking. You're not making a claim with evidence. You're just making a claim. You're actually just making an assertion. That's really all it is.
the faith part so important? Think about that. Why were the lies that were surrounding that came out of Turning Point USA, which we were able to debunk, so many of them were faith focused? That's a clue. I recognize that as a clue, and that's what told me that I needed to hyper focus on the faith angle, because the lies were unnecessary. Greg Bickford writes, keep calling them out. The power grab in the vortex left behind is just too desperate to be genuine. Yeah, of course it's not genuine. Even yesterday, the Daily Mail, their APAC reporter, Victoria Churchill, publishes an article, the most bizarre headline.
Allie makes it.
All respect to Allie and the work she's done. Charlie Kirk's TPUSA heiress is how we're describing her? Like, what? Like, I'm sorry, what heiress?
Hold on. Charlie Kirk's TPUSA heiress erupts at Candace Owens as heinous Erica claim opens new chasm on the right. I don't know what that word, I don't know why they use heiress either, but okay. But that's the Daily Mail. Like, is that supposed to be because the Daily Mail said it? But who is it? Victoria Churchill? Oh, she tried to say that, like, what? That's not the first time the Daily Mail said something wrong. Okay.
Is how we're describing her? Like, What? Like, I'm sorry. What is that? Actually, what op are we in right now where the heiress to Turning Point USA is Ali Stuckey? That is a wild headline. And they repeated that, the heir apparent in the Wall Street Journal. That's weird. That's just, it's weird because it's wrong and it's not true. That's why it's weird. Not because she couldn't be an heiress or an heir to something, I suppose, but it's just totally wacky to try to fit that in there. That's very strange. She attacks Candace Owens. The context of calling somebody the heiress of Turning Point USA would make sense if you're referring to Erica. That's about it. That's literally probably it, because she quite literally was the heir to Turning Point USA. Like, she became the chairman, but that's weird. Like, that sort of stuff makes me go, what the heck is going on right now?
But
weird
that's
psychological operation.
That's the Daily Mail, though. How is that anybody here stateside's fault? And again, I think it's probably not the best use of words, but who cares? Why don't you address what Allie Beth said? How about that?
Fighting for the truth and be safe. I've recently realized we are at war, and the direction that this timeline of the world is literally going in is at stake. The fate of the future of America down with the two-party system. I agree fully. Drew Cass writes, Candace, I feel like the Zionists are trying to distract you by making you debunk their lies. We, as the people, believe you. Stay focused, my friend. Yeah, I have been way more focused and jumped back into it. The lies were just getting so crazy that sometimes I just have to call it out and be like, this is completely crazy. We're just inverting reality. The Duchess of Camelot writes, the fentanyl crisis is by design, allegedly. Yeah, our boys were guarding the poppy fields and them in Afghanistan, and then we got an opioid crisis, and the Sackler family seems to be the only ones that benefited from that opioid crisis, certainly not the American people, and that is why I also say do not let your sons fight in the military. That is so disrespectful that nothing is getting better in our country, and we are just sending our sons over to die for Israel. Their borders expand. Talking about the security of the Middle East, we would have no beef in the Middle East if it wasn't for Israel and us constantly protecting them from the trouble that they cause. But I'm not going to go off on a rant about that. Anyways, you guys, we also promised you, which I totally forgot. I'm sorry. I had a crazy Friday, you guys, a long week homeschooling. I also said to you that I would address who yelled at Charlie, and I totally forgot to get the last name of that person until I saw it in the notes just now. But that, I promise you, I will actually have on Monday. So forgive me for just having a total mom brain at the moment. It's just been a long week. Thank you for your support, and we will see you on Monday.
Woo, y'all. All right. Shout out to the best live chat on the internet. Thank y'all so much for tapping in. Man, that was painful. That was actually physically painful. I love what you said right here. Thank you, TFCS, with the $2 super. Sources are drying up. She's making stuff up now. I mean, I can't say otherwise. Like, how is she not making stuff up? Shout out to our Lila Rose. Thank you so much for the $13.99. Candace hasn't talked to anyone, nor does she have proof. You're not gonna beat those charges. You're not gonna be able to beat me. I don't believe that she's talked to anybody. I think she literally is making this stuff up, or it's coming from these random emails. That's it. I don't think she's talked to anybody at TPUSA. I don't think she's talked to any of these key people, because she's talking when she doesn't. She's probably sent an email or text to them, asked them to respond, and they didn't, and then she just goes scorched earth on them. Thank you so much for the $2.99 super sticker. I appreciate you, Miss Michael Ann. Thank you so much. The question was, Jason, did you respond to Allie's interview with Frank Turek that she premiered today? No, I've been swamped. So I have a video.